put Striker on the Widow as well. So an interesting comp.
Keeping an eye on Dreamcasper. He does seem to be hanging in here, though. Don't see him really going back to spawn just yet, and so we might actually see it stick. He's hitting a couple of shots so far. He's up to 24% on the ult charge. But now it's a matter of just maintaining. They haven't been able to get rid of the man, Tvik, who's still hanging around out on the rooftops.
Well, you got to give Zupe a ton of credit for that because he has been hitting him with that long-range healing. He's been trying to be harassed by the D.Va, but Zupe's keeping them alive. And so far, no pressure up top.
Oh, there it is.
That was tense. That made me really anxious because it took way too long to actually fire that scatter shot. He follows it up by taking down the man who's been keeping people alive in Zupe. Zebo's going to bring him back to life knowing how important those supports are.
It is satisfying when Hanzo, you get that headshot with the arrows because it takes a little bit of time, right? So you're like, did I get it? Did I get it? Ah, yeah. Anna down for the dirt nap. Oh, Gamsu, he's got the Primal Rage. Definitely going to be holding on to that one. Instead, going to be feeding some ult charge over to his healers. Making sure that they're feeling pretty good about themselves. Neko just got the Transcendence going for himself. And Kelix, well, you can hear the wings. They're no longer deployed.
Casper really opened the door for him, so they had to stop worrying about the Tracer. Now he can shut down the door with an arrow. He's going to do it right to the right side while everyone else is watching left, so they only have to worry about one angle of aggress.
Pretty much using the Dragon Strike there to just buy more time to cut off that right entrance. Both of these teams are dealing with the choke points now, and Dreamcasper doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He just gets pummeled to death by Swoosh. But the point is still making progress. Manatin crouching on the side, trying to buy time, and he will get his mech back, and so that obviously makes that job a bit easier. But Gamsu, his target priority right now, he is on point. Him and Kalios just ganging up on Zebasai.
Yeah, Striker definitely picked up the slack there as they lost Dreamcasper early, and he continues to do so on the ground. And look at that, 3 swift eliminations from Gamsu. Him and Striker working that dive composition to perfection.
Just working together as a unit. I'm loving the communication here. Real shift. But that's what you need to be doing when you've got Mercy down low. When she has her ultimate, when Valkyrie is going, she is constantly regenerating HP as well. And so when you're trying to tickle her with your taser, it's not quite enough.
So often people talk about combos, oh, the DPS combo and the support combos, but when you're running dive, that Tracer and Winston, if they are on the same page, it is so much sustained damage that you can't run away from, and the initiation has to be there. You'll see often that the Winston will jump in and you have no idea where the Tracer is, and then she's from the other side like a Velociraptor.
Yes, soon the French Velociraptor. There we go! Zupe, he's gone, but he does get rezzed immediately by Zebasai. Very quick play there from the Mercy to keep her teammate, I guess, technically in the fight. And so Striker, you can see, I mean, he's just dancing around on the edges, just farming up a little bit more here, trying to keep the pressure on, and sure enough, he's right on top of it. Zupe gone again. Both kills of him, at least, going Striker's way.
It might be time to start switching into an idea of maybe catching the dive again right now because they're really struggling with dealing with his very aggressive nature. A McCree or a Junkrat, even a Roadhog, which Dreamcasper has played before, as Manatin can play on the other side of things to be able to just stop these flankers. And a Roadhog is also a really good counter against a Winston.
Exactly, get that hook, you can pull him out of position, get him out from under his shield. So that does add to the pressure. Kalios just jumping right in. Tvik will get the shot on Dreamcasper, that's huge. Putting a halt to that, and I believe the Dragon Blade had come out as well, and so no use out of that ultimate.
He is brought right back up. Kalios is trying to get back into his mech, and he's looking at the other pilot, D.Va. Baby D.Va battles go the way of Striker early on as he cleans up Manatin. Manatin brought back to life, but I have to think that this is actually going in the way of Boston Uprising.
I'm really curious to see when Kalios decides to go for the self-destruct here. If he's going to make the call and make the use of it. It seems like they have the advantage, at least as far as the staggers are concerned, and the self-destruct, nothing there. However, for Manatin, no big kills, and right now, Boston, it feels like they are very much in control of the situation.
They're absolutely in control, and now they're going to try to hunt down this Zenyatta towards the end, but they don't want to give him any extra kills there as he peeks around the corner. They will take the push. They have to wait for this door to open, and, doors in Overwatch, not great. That is one of the problems with getting split spawn like that. Nothing Zebo could do there as Striker, an unwelcome, welcoming party.
Padding the stats, getting a bit of the feel-good moment there. Thanks for the freebie. And now we're going to see, look exactly there, that white box, that's how far they have to push the payload to win this map, Boston Uprising, and that is not very far at all. So the pressure is really going to start ratcheting up here for Florida Mayhem. They have to hold, and here comes the initiate. D.Va just flying right through, but Swoosh just gets obliterated immediately.
And Zupe ends up popping the Transcend, but very patient from Casper, waits for that light to die out, and he will treat them all to the shiny side of his blade.
Yeah, it's also the sharp side, and that's not the side you really want to be experiencing if you're on Florida Mayhem. It's a bit too close to cut.
There is no side of a blade I want to experience, broadside or sharp side.
Oh, there we go. Kalios is the style. Logix just darts in, hoping to delay things just a little bit further. Zebasai kind of dancing on the edge, trying to keep his teammate alive, but that point, it is right on top of it, and they are not able to put a halt at all, Florida Mayhem. It will be Boston who pick up the first map, and they really turned it around. It looked a little shaky for them at the start of this. They definitely brought it together with the comms at the end.
Hello friends, Chris Slight here, and in this video we'll be showing you how to capture gameplay in XSplit Gamecaster.
Constant damage, but since the card only had to
Capturing
go there,
PC gameplay is simple. Just go into your game and wait for the prompt hotkey to open the overlay. That's it. For console gameplay capture, make sure you have one of the capture cards supported by XSplit Game.
You're acting so funny. What's wrong, Billy?
My doctor says I have Skittles pox.
Are they contagious?
I don't think so.
Contract the rainbow. Taste the rainbow.
League represents a different direction than esports have taken in the past. A global community of professionals for a truly global league.
This is truly, watching these videos gives me chills because it really shows you how everything has come together here. And I mean, not only are the players here with us playing on the stage, but we got an audience as well. They're playing in front of the home crowd. Some of these teams, Valiant and Gladiators, right? It is just such a sick experience.
Yeah, when I'm not casting, I like to sit out in the audience. It's an awesome experience. If you're in the area, come down to the studio. It is a grand time. It's also a sick trophy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't feel like we get to see it enough. I kind of want to like see it center stage. You know what those teams are playing for. We'll get into that. Second map will be coming up now in this series. No subs for either of these teams. They've decided to stick to their guns. And so, well, we kind of got a bit of a feel now for Boston and where they're at. It's going to be a question of whether Florida can turn things around here on map 2, which is going to be Anubis. As
we mentioned that Dorado should have been Florida's favorite map because that's what they won yesterday. This map type might suit Boston very well. Boston was able to win Horizon Lunar Colony, of course, yesterday against New York Excelsior. And Assault, one of the reasons I think that Boston's going to be good at this is because you need a good Genji to close out Assault. The reason being you need those 3 and 4 kill ultimates, and that's what Dragon Blade can get you.
You told me that that's almost like by default. You just get 3, 4 kills with Dragon Blade.
Yes, it's true.
I tried it earlier and it just didn't work. I don't know. I was like looking up at you. This guy, last time I'm listening to him.
As soon as you hit Q, they just automatically selects 2 people at random, RNG, and they die.
Oh, so we're playing Hearthstone.
Yes, I'm always one of them somehow. Even in quick play, the Genjis get 4 kills in Dragon Blades.
Yeah, that is agony when you're up against a good Genji, and then you know you're playing like McCree, try flashbang him. Of course, he's reflecting. And you just feel really bad about yourself. But the Genji, he's feeling great. He's loving it. So we're gonna see, man. This is, you're right. You know, one of those maps where we see a lot of the dive, we see a lot of the Genji play, and Dream Casper, I feel like over the past couple of days now, he's really shown us that he is quite a capable Genji player. He's good with the sashimi, you know, with the blade handle.
Now I'm hungry. Thanks.
Yeah, it is getting a little later in the day.
It's getting that time.
You know, perfect. I mean, this is the life, right? If you're here on the West Coast, you know, you're cooking dinner at home, you got your match on to watch while you're doing it. You know, sit down, eat, and watch Boston and Florida just go clashing into each other. It's the life.
But no surprise here for the Boston defense. That is as pure of a dive composition as you will see. You've got Winston, you've got D.Va, you've got Genji, you've got Tracer. Healers, of course, interchangeable, but you generally want to Zen with this as well to keep your flanking defenders alive.
This will be interesting, just because we have Twick running the Widowmaker on the other side. In general, you want to see, you know, Widow getting countered by Widow, but turns out that you can also have a sniper in the form of Zenyatta. Neko starting strong, taking down Logix. That's such a valuable kill.
Yeah, I believe someone that we know would call it a bloodthirsty support, and that's going to delay their next push just by a little bit here. You can't go into this without your Tracer player. She needs to be distracting in the back line and opening up those sight lines. Otherwise, they're just going to get in their hidey holes, and Tvik's never going to have a shot.
A valuable time taking out the clock. Well, we have a little bit of variety here, and well, that's a good way to bring it back. Kelix is out of the fight immediately. That means no reses, no ult charge either for him. That will delay that all-important Valkyrie, and so things could actually look up here for Florida, although as I say that, they are still losing members. Boston, even without the Mercy, they're getting the fight done.
Logix has to be on tilt alert right now because that is twice he's tried to go to the back line, and Neko has put him right back into spawn. Third time and you're out, and you just stop going after that Zen, which changes your target priority for the Tracer.
Gonna be looking to see exactly Striker. He's nearly got the pulse bomb as well, but Gamsu's done a fantastic job charging up his ultimate as well. So this is actually shaping up to be quite a solid defense here for Boston. You know, Kelix, just mind your sight lines, don't get picked again, and things are gonna be looking up.
Tvik just looking for the angles to find, and everyone's fighting in very different places right now. Kelix and Neko go down to Logix. The redemption tour begins.
Whoa, and so Striker eventually gets the frag on Tvik, but this is actually getting a bit hairy. Manitin raining rockets in onto the point, doing as much damage as possible, and now it's a matter of dealing with this Tracer, who is obviously going to be darting around, trying to buy time, challenge on the point, but that's where it ends, just like that. It's Caster Curse. I was praising them. They were looking great, and then Florida just find all of the kills in the blink of an eye.
Well, I mentioned Logix. He got picked off the first 2 times he got in, and then he finds this perfect angle. He is the hammer to the anvil. His tank set up and simply crushes all the support.
Fantastic. That hit squad, that death ball, when you really get that dive rolling in together, there's so much damage that it can really turn on a knife's edge.
Preemptive Valkyrie comes in here too, as Florida knows they have a giant advantage in the ultimates, but Logix again goes down, has to burn a res on him to bring him back to life. Both reses now out for Zupe, as Kelix is nearing his own Valkyrie.
Yeah, but we do have the Dragon Blade out here for Dream Casper. He's looking to try and do as much damage as possible. Can they cancel it out? Yes, they can. Defense Matrix there, deleting rockets left and right, and so Zebasai not getting nearly as much out of that ultimate as he was hoping, and this is Boston able to catch their breath. You can see they're just toying with Manitin. Just draw it out. Make it as painful as possible.
Never feels great. Always want that stagger. Of course, you want to stagger these kills as late as possible, because in Overwatch, if you don't go into 6, you might as well not go in at all. So getting those kill spawns reset just buys you those valuable seconds right there. Florida had everything they were looking for, but then Logix again challenged NAKO, which he's got to be a little worried about that. It's the third time he's been able to pick him off. They threw every ult they had at it, although on the other side of things, Boston did have to use a support ult to keep themselves alive on defense.
Yeah, they did. They both have them, but we still have Gamsu and Kalios who are rocking there. So we do have those tank ultimates in play, those beefy guys. They'll be even harder to kill when those come around. And so NAKO, you can see in position trying to rain some orbs in with the volley. Not quite going to connect. Just looking for the snipe, but we've seen him do it before, and a little bit of damage dealt there.
And NAKO is just kind of keeping himself safe. No one's going to be able to flank him. He's hanging out with his tanks right now. The I got to watch would probably be Tavik right now if they even go in, because Tavik is going to be the guy to try to close this out on the Reaper switch. They have defensive Reaper, not something you always see.
And what you don't really see that often either is an attacking Sombra on this second point. This is going to be interesting. And he's already out of the fight, and so that EMP not going to be too much of an issue. I was kind of feeling bad for Dreamcast. I was like, man, he's really having a tough time with those shotguns. You know, it's you can't really shoot too far with them. You know, wasn't quite connecting with the tanks, those big juicy targets he wants to go after.
Yeah, I think yesterday we were treated to one of the very first Semlerisms, shooty shotguns.
Damn straight, shooty shotguns. I mean, that's all I'm doing, right? You know, when I'm playing, I was like, shoot, and then you just start, and then you knock over your monitor, and everything ends sadly. But you get excited, man. Reaper is a lot of fun to play, and especially to counter a Sombra, because hey, you know, you can EMP me, that's fine. I've still got the shooty shotguns. I'm still gonna blast your face off, and things are gonna end poorly for you. So, I mean, this is gonna be on Zebasai. What can he do with his ult?
They're playing with fire right there. Got out there with 2 HP, but now he's got the EMP ready. He will translocate aggressively in EMP, and that dies right away to the self-destruct. We'll see if his team can pick up the slack.
Yeah, that might have been enough, though. Dreamcasper is still alive. He's still gonna be able to blast people, and Calyx as well, getting those reses off. And so, what looked real promising is kind of fluttering a little bit here in the wind. Zebasai will find Dreamcasper, so that's a big kill. And Tavik, not really, he's just doing the damage at this point. And so it does look like Florida, they've got a situation here that they could come out ahead in.
Both Valkyries have been exchanged, and Florida definitely in the right side of the kill feed where they need to be. Every kill coming in, but Boston, all you need to do to tip this back is get 1, maybe 2. Death Blossom looking to be set up. He will just jump off of the point, knowing that he's got Primal Rage to keep this point alive.
Yep, gonna be dancing right back out and forth again. Dreamcasper, though, Tavik able to hunt him down. That was a big kill, but Gamsu finds the back line.
Yeah, it's a great kill to take down the Mercy in that fight. That's so much healing down, and because Gamsu hit that man with his glasses, they should be able to stabilize on defense. They have given up a permanent 33% in 1 tick. Now it's time to signal the retreat. A little over 2 minutes left for the offense.
Some time to work with here, and Zebasai has done a fantastic job of charging up that EMP again, and so they will have that entry. Hopefully it goes better for him this time than it did last time. That was a little unfortunate. I mean, yes, he sacked himself to the self-destruct, but he did set up his teammates to be able to at least pick up, you're right, that 33% on the point, so they won't lose that. Big thing here, though, is Dreamcast. We're going to have to keep an eye on him to see when he decides to go for the Death Blossom.
Yeah, the EMP could be big to take down the defense matrix and make sure that Logix can get in there with the false bomb. Logic's already there. He's just going to throw it right at the D.Va anyway.
D-Mech'd and already dead, and there we go. Tavik, one of his. Dreamcasper was trying to go for the Death Blossom, but he gets snuffed before he can get any kind of impact out of it, and this is big. Now Florida, they're in a situation now where they can continue to stagger frags. NAKO comes back into it, but he's got to dart back around the corner just to stay alive, and they are making progress, Florida. There's one, and can they finally close it out? No, it's not going to happen. Kalios is there to buy even more time for his team.
Add your
they got 2 kills there, so there's only 4 remaining members of the Mayhem on the point right now trying to close this out. They're going to try to stall it out, but yet another Primal Rage. That shows you the impact that Gamsu is having. That's 2 fights in a row.
You can position your game source in the corner.
That is unbelievable how quickly he is charging it up. That is buying so much time. Tavik, that's what Reaper excels at, taking out the big targets with those shotties, but now it's just a matter of him demeching and just trying to stay alive.
Now drag the webcam to the corner and size it so that you'll be able to see both your webcam and your gameplay
Reaper as well. You have the life leash.
If you wish to hide your camera, click the checkbox next to the name of your camera in the source list.
It will come to an end in a bit of a chaotic fashion.
If you right-click on a source, you can open the source menu where you can change various properties. One use case for web cameras is chroma key. If you have the appropriate backdrop, go to the color tab in the source menu and click on the chroma key option. Adjust the chroma key until you get the desired result. Click on scene 2. Let's make this into our intro scene. Click the white box above the source list in order to rename machine.
It's a vague notion.
You know,
Let's add a text source.
That's what it's all about.
In the source menu for text, let's type in an appropriate introduction.
The best defense is a good offense.
There you go.
Let's also set the text to scroll.
Really, happy with that one.
Once you click on OK, you can manipulate your scrolling text in the video
now,
mixer.
I mean, you can see Swoosh is trying to pump up his mates right now, and they need it, I think, because they
You can
know
also
that
change the transition that happens between scenes. Use the drop-down menu to select the type of transition, and then use the transition speed option to set how quickly the transition happens.
It's really underlies the importance of a clean
Once you're set up, click on the outputs menu and select set up a new output in order to stream to your favorite live streaming website. XSplit has simplified the setup process by just requiring you to log into your account and allowing our setup wizard to determine the best settings for your broadcast. Once the wizard is complete, you can use the settings dialog to fine-tune your settings. To go live, go back to the outputs menu and click on your newly configured output. At the top of the XSplit broadcaster window, a status monitor will appear with information about your broadcast. To create a local recording file, go to the Outputs menu and click on the local recording option. Once a local recording has started, you will see status at the top status monitor just as you would for a live broadcast. For more information, follow us on our social media.
A very played hero on this map, even before he got a little bit of the buff treatment too. He's always good at locking down one of the two doorways, and if you see a junk, you generally just try to maybe even go to a Lucio to speed in one side or another, or you add some more tanks into the mix. We'll see how that works out. You have a Widow on one side of the field, so Florida's going to have to hide in their holes and stay out of sight lines.
Yeah, that's not so much of an issue. We saw the same from Tvik in the first push as well, so we'll see if he can get that same result. And once again, that's unreal. It's the exact same start. NAKO snipes Logix, and there's the man advantage. That's exactly what Boston were looking for.
Logix isn't even going after him. Does he owe NAKO money? What is this vendetta here?
This is unbelievable. He's got the charge again with the volley. He gets a headshot, doing the damage and the heals. This man is on top of it all. So Striker, you can see kind of dancing in on the edge, looking for a soft target, looking for somebody to get on here. He's looking for the guys who are actually going to be trying to run back in after the res.
They have to drop down from the top because they don't want to give up any more free progress onto the point. Now these tanks are just becoming alt batteries for Striker as they try to near the second point. They do get that second tick. Progress continues.
And they get the T-Mac as well. Life is going to get more difficult. Striker with the style point. Swoosh is gone. And that is going to be the follow-up. This is turning into the Striker show, and this is exactly what he wants to be doing. Just shooting at the back line, dropping support players left and right. Tracer is such a powerful hero to play.
He was just waiting down there like a piranha for those tanks. They kept dipping their toes in the water just trying to stop the progress on the point, and he just ate them up.
That was sick to watch. And while that sets up Boston, look at that, how much time they have to work with now, over 6 minutes. So they can be very patient about this, but it doesn't look like they're interested in waiting whatsoever. Tvik just barely hanging in there. Just barely gonna survive. The hail of missiles coming in from Kalios, who really committed to that fight. He's gonna have to try and back out. His teammate has used the Transcendence as well. NAKO trying to buy a little bit of time, but not quite gonna happen. Dreamcast hunting for a target. Enemy at the gate, so there we go. Ron Perlman, he's just got, he just ached a little bit there.
That was Vasily right there. Vasily is up at the top of the arch, getting work done. However, this is only going to buy them time to come back in. He's waited for the rest of the team, the resurrections that they needed to get, come back in here, and the pressure continues.
Still, I mean, this is sick because now he can see through the walls. He can really line up those shots. You can see he's hunting, nearly connects with Mercy. That would be a massive kill if he could take or if he could take Zupe rather out of the fight.
Trying to find the angles here. They're doing a good job of playing behind walls and not necessarily giving him anything to shoot at, but they have to be very cognizant that he is up there. They go for it again. This time, he's got the extra HP, so not going to get launched out of the sky.
He is just a straight bouncer. There we go, finally. Swoosh not having a great time here, having to deal with this Widow. That is no fun, but that is an even bigger one. Denies the tire, and ultimate gone to waste. And all because Dream Casper just can't seem to miss right now.
It's been okay, but it's not enough. And if you're not getting an overwhelming amount of damage or picks with this Widow, you have to go switch because you need that pressure on the point. You need the body on the point. This might be a Reaper. No, Genji I think is actually the better call here. We spoke about his Genji on the way in because you want the overwhelming win on the fight. You need 3 kills from a Dragon Blade to really start getting progress on the point.
You have to swing it your way. And you're right, the comfort pick, right? All right, time to go to it. See if you can get some shurikens to connect with faces. Striker. Again, it's going to be the Striker show. We're going to see who he's going to be able to hunt down this time. Logix. Oh, Tvik. Nicely done with the mine. And that'll buy them just a little bit more time here, Florida Mayhem. A moment to breathe. Dream Casper just chucking in those pointy stars. seeing if he can get any kind of ult charge going for himself.
It was also the perfect time to switch to Genji too, because they just used everything. So it's not like they were setting up a next big attack of we're going to go in with Valk, we're going to go in with Transcend. It had all been used. So by the time those support ults are up, if Dream Casper can get his poke in, then they should have a blade for him to use as well. This next rush, they're not hoping to win. They're hoping to get something going and hoping to build up ults.
Just kind of glancing around. I don't think he's going to be too surprised to see the supports in the back line, but Striker still manages to find the kill on Dem's side. That is one of the reses used as well.
They've already won this fight. Both support ultimates from Florida Mayhem have been burned out on top of each other. That was Valkyrie gone. That is Transcendence gone. That is exactly what you want from that rush. You have no notions of winning that fight or taking that point, but you already won by making them burn ults. Look at the other side. Transcendence up, Valkyrie up. They are ready to go, and Casper will have his blade during this next fight.
This is going to be fascinating, though, because Evoside now switches over to the Sombra. He's going to have to charge one hell of a fast EMP here to be present in the next fight. Although Neko has been brought back up, the wings already out here for Kelix. That heal, the chain heal as well, going to make the difference. And Dream Casper hunting for the support players. He's got the Dragon Blade, and sure enough, he's going for it. Chops one, chops two, and he could make three as well, but there's nobody left.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. He waited for the Mercy to give him the burst that he needed. And that fight is set up by the one before it. Mayhem got baited into using both of their support ults. The preemptive Valkyrie on the other side of things comes in, and they have everything they need to win that fight. That was a fight won due to only economy management.
Yeah, great calls right now from Boston. Truly impressed with their play so far. And they got to the slow start on the first map on Dorado, but they have truly shown us what they're capable of here on the second map, and they have quite a bit of time to work with now in the bank as well. 3 minutes 26. That's fairly solid work. And so now the pressure is on for Florida. They've got a minute to make some magic happen here.
It took them over a minute to take point A on their first attack. So this is going to be asking for something unprecedented. They need a clean entry here. And if I'm Logix and I'm playing that Tracer, I'm avoiding Neko like the plague.
Yeah, doesn't really seem like he's been given much of a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
It just happens. Maybe, I don't know, Fate kind of pissed at him right now. He just happens to be intercepting orbs, just flying through angles.
He's got to pray to the Omnic God, because clearly Zenyatta's dishing out some spitefulness.
Yeah, the wrath right now. I'm impressed. Boston really showing what they're capable of here. But that's not to say that there isn't the talent on Florida to turn things around. You can never discount players like Vic. Like Logix. I mean, we've seen it from Logix as well. So very curious to see here. It's going to be the Tracer pick for Logix by the looks of things, and it looks like they want to try and go back to what worked in the first round on offense for them. Florida Mayhem, Vic will be on the Widow, hoping for a pick to start things off.
This is 3 DPS, and when Boston identifies this, then Zupe is going to be target numero uno as the only source of healing on that Mayhem team.
Find out if it works. This is going to be a bit of a tough time here for Zupe as well. Now he's got to worry about getting the heals on the Pharah, who's going to be up there, out in the open. Not the best not the best ways to deal with Pharah here in terms of long-range hit scan, but we'll see how they can actually fire. Oh, never mind.
Oh my God!
It's unbelievable. Here I am saying, oh, well, Hex, I'm a little worried here for Boston. I don't quite think they've got what it takes to deal with. Never mind. Turns out he can just snipe orbs left. Oh, he even hits that one. Sure. Okay, cool. Keep styling.
It defies all logic. They're going to be playing on the point now, knowing that the Mayhem, the onus is on them to pressure the point out, and they've only got 10 seconds to do so. Time to throw some bodies at it.
Let's find out. I mean, they have to get on the point. They need a presence there. Once it ticks into overtime, things are going to get a bit dicey, and Kalios looking again to put the pressure here on the Pharah, and that's really drawing Zupe's attention, but Zupe will have Valk very soon. It's a question of how quickly here. 5% left. He needs to be able to pop it very quickly here to be able to keep his teammates alive and keep the hopes alive, but he gets Zupe! He dies! And that makes all of the difference. This really shifts over to Boston now. They should have the healing throughput. They should get the lockdown on this first point. And sure enough, a very solid hold with some clean picks in the end to get it done.
The one thing you don't want next to your name when you're in spawn and your team needs you is a check mark. And he had Valkyrie ready, unable to get it off before he got his wings clipped. And that is tough. The best they can hope for now is a draw here on Anubis, and they're going to have to defend point A for a little shy 3.5 minutes, Semler.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
That is a long time to hold point A. If you're like point B, okay, maybe, yeah, we got this. Yeah, we can do that. We can stall it out. But point A, this is going to be dicey. So I think we're going to have some clever stuff coming out here from Florida Mayhem.
Yesterday we talked a lot about Dream Casper and Striker because it's easy to highlight the DPS, but if you don't know who Neko is, you better ask somebody.
Now he is doing work right now, and it's a lot of fun to see. Chaz on Gladiators really impressed me with his. I mean, it feels like Zenyatta is like, yeah, okay, you're playing support, and guys, if you want to get into support, kind of dip your toe in there, but still feel like you can do some damage, you can have an impact. Just look at these guys, right? Yes, okay, they're getting the healing orb out, but they're also finding kills that are contributing to these team fights.
Yeah, Battlefield Commander Zenyatta knows where everything is able to make calls, and yeah, I mean, healing is kind of secondary when I play Zenyatta. I'm like, yeah, here's an orb.
No, me too. I'm just calling out Discord.
I'm busy.
You know what? I know what's been going on here. They've obviously, these Zenyatas, they had a meeting with Doa.
Yeah.
And Doa was just like, guys, this is how you got to do it. And sure enough, you listen to Doa, good things happen. Magic. That's what it's all about.
The master Zen of the caster stack.
All right, so moving on. It is going to be Dream Casper. Okay, so here's the change coming in here from Boston. They're willing to go for the Snipe War as well. And so Dream Casper will be looking to find a pick fairly quickly here. Tvik has got success with the trap to start things off on the Junkrat.
Yeah, they've got Logix isolated on the left side, and that isolation leads to decimation as Logix goes down to NAKO yet again.
Unbelievable. That hits. I mean, we're just going to have to get a hard stat on that at this point. How many times has NAKO ruined Logix's day? Many at this point now. Kalios just pumping shots in, trying to keep keep the pressure on, and that's exactly what he wants to be doing here as D.Va.
It's a great pick from Tvik, though, to take down Kelix, because that is a lot of healing now. That might be the one kill that they need to get in there, but they have to fight right on the point. The progress cannot go any further. It does seem like Boston will beat a hasty retreat.
Nice defense coming in, and they have the ults as well now on Zupe. We will have Valk, and I'm very curious to see where Tvik is going to be able to get that Riptire in, although he was denied a couple times when he was forced to play Junkrat in previous halves.
Dream Casper has gone over to the Genji, and that's a backup. They're going to try to use some ults in this fight, but 2 minutes is enough for him to get a blade up.
Wow, Kelix not wasting any time whatsoever, and Dream Casper there to pick things up. Immediately, both Valks in play, and this time Zupe's alive. That's a bonus, but Striker looking to end things here. Zebasai, is he going to get rezzed again? That'll be the question mark. Logix dropping dangerously low. Striker's just doing tremendous damage right now.
Logix was smartly able to get behind the bubble to keep himself alive, but he is still very low with no healing. Zupe goes down again to Gamsu, who has been targeting him out of the sky. And this one looks like it might be Boston taking a swift 2-0 lead.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. Boston. Boston Uprising right now, and it's going to come down to Florida here. After we hear from the desk, it's going to come down to Florida to try and regain some kind of momentum. They need to figure out what's going wrong and get their finger on it.
Got to get that 0 off the board, whatever you can do to do it. I think a lot of it might be having to flex on a different composition, some kind of stubborn nature coming into play right now.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will hear what the desk has to think about these first 2 maps and what they predict for the final 2.
We got a packed house of awesome fans, and speaking of awesome fans, we saw some really amazing viewing parties from teams all over the world yesterday. But there's one team in particular I want to give a shout out to, and that's the fans of the Boston Uprising. Last night, you saw over 100 fans gathering at the greatest bar in Boston, and just like traditional sports, Boston's fans, they can be some of the loudest. Here's their celebration at the end of a big win against NYXL. And these guys were cheering, they were getting loud. We got some Boston fans in the house today, and I want to hear them equally loud because your team is now just one game away from taking down the Florida Mayhem. How do we get here? We're about to break it down, and it starts with Sideshow, who has her insights powered by Intel.
Yeah, I think one of the really important things that Boston has been able to do is shut down Logix in a lot of these situations. So this was the situation of Florida Mayhem pushing. They had a great snowball going, huge amount of time on the clock. And then they get into this position. So Tveek is locking off this angle here onto Dreamcasper, and that allows Logix to come around behind, and he's going to set up an angle in the courtyard. Dreamcasper, Kalios, and Kelex are all forced into this tiny little area on the top roof here, and if Logix manages to land a pulse bomb or force them out into Tveek's sightline, they'll be in a great position to keep this snowball rolling. Now, Dreamcasper and Neko particularly are way too smart for this though. You'll see that they are completely aware of Logix's positioning. They get a little glance of him there, and you see here that the Discord Orb and a little flash from Neko at the same time as Dreamcasper's focusing, and Logix is obliterated. He's instantly scrubbed off the map, and they completely shut down all of Logix's little flanks. And it's this kind of stuff where they're putting the Discord target onto Logix and focusing him down that stops these dives working so well for Florida Mayhem.
You shut down Logix, and it seems that this team is starting to fall apart. As we take a look at some of the highlights here from our first game, I have to ask you, Brent, it can't just be that Logix isn't getting the job done. There has to be people causing problems for him on the Boston Uprising. What did you see throughout this game? Who is causing the biggest issue?
Yeah, so map 1 in particular, the real shining star here for Boston has to be Dreamcasper. The man's statistics across the board were really just quite phenomenal in terms of how much he was getting done. He was playing Genji primarily throughout the entire first map, and his damage statistics after the first half, he had 31% of his team's damage done, which is an absolutely ridiculous number. Normally, you say around 20% for Genji players, because it's so hard to dish out that kind of damage.
I mean, also, this is so impressive because Striker's on his team, and he's also doing a huge amount of damage. So to do 31% when you've also got such a good DPS player is, again, phenomenal.
Incredible stuff coming out of Dreamcasper. For me, I thought it was all Gamsu and Striker. Apparently, there's somebody else in the mix. Kalios, you're there too. Let's keep talking about the action, though, as we continued into game number 2. It's Anubis, and we did not get the matchup that we saw between the Dallas Fuel and the Seoul Dynasty. This one was a bit more of a one-sided affair. As we take a look at some of the highlights here, let's talk about the composition. Sideshow, what did we see in game number 2?
Yeah, well, we saw similar kind of styles from both of the two teams, but what was most interesting to me was some of the ways that support ultimates were being used and the ultimate economy in general. There seemed to be a trend throughout this match of Boston Uprising having the more clean engagements and having a big macro plan of what they want to achieve in each push, and Florida Mayhem don't seem to have that.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've got a fantastic clip to follow up that point about the ult economy, but this is just a general highlight. You can see here, there was generally kicking off, but Boston Uprising looked so much better across the board. And there's that Dreamcasper. Dreamcasper didn't have a particularly great game in this map number 2, but thankfully, he's got fantastic teammates like Striker, Gamsu, Kalios to pick up the slack where he left off.
And how many characters has he played now? I saw him running the Reaper for a little bit, going up against Tveek. You saw him on Genji there. We saw him on Hanzo back at Dorado. Dreamcasper really showing just how deep his hero pool is. But it just feels, for me, that Florida doesn't have the same cohesion as Boston, and we're about to see that in our next clip. Let's go ahead and break down what's going wrong with the supports, Brent.
Yeah, exactly. So on the side of Florida Mayhem, we've got a fantastic clip to show this one in general. This is the ult economy game again, that we're talking about. And you'll notice Florida Mayhem here, the support ultimate rotations across the board generally is not too fantastic. They're forced to use the Valkyrie early, you see Zupe moving in, but they overlap it with the Transcendence. You never really want to be doing that at all. You want to be sort of prolonging out your support ultimate so you get maximum value over a length of time.
Yeah, and this was Gamsu and Striker getting in there, insta-pick onto Zebasai, and this was a raw push for them. They had no ultimates up. They had no intention of actually closing out the map in that push because they knew that the support ultimates were available. So their entire plan there is to force out the Valkyrie and the Transcendence, and to get them both done in one fight so cleanly, that shows the level of coordination and the game plan coming out from Boston.
All right, let's talk about Florida. They're not out of this one yet. They could still win the next 2 games and force a tiebreaker in a Game 5. If they're going to do it, what mistakes do they need to shore up?
So we talked a little bit at the beginning about both of these teams having a similar style, and that is these coordinated dives. And you just saw a great example of what Boston are doing well, but here's an example of what Florida is perhaps doing a little bit less well. So towards the end of Dorado, we saw some more ambitious plays coming out from Swoosh in particular, and just in general more sloppy engagements on their team play. So this final fight at the end of Dorado really, I think, shows some of the issues that they're having in terms of cleanless that we didn't see when they played London. They were phenomenal on Dorado. So we have a replay that we can jump into at the end of Dorado. And you can see here that Swoosh is going to try and engage, but he makes it incredibly obvious. Now they have the Transcendence and a defense matrix to try and catch him. So although Swoosh looks like he's diving in super aggressively, Manaton can save him with the defense matrix, and Supe was trying to catch him with that Transcendence, but the timing is just off by a split second. And as ambitious as it can be, Dreamcasper cleans it all up as they just overextend.
Put your hands together for Sideshow. He crushed it this segment. Bren, you were pretty good too, but we're out of time. That means we're going to a commercial break. When we return, we'll find out, can the Mayhem hang? They gotta battle back with Control when we come back. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
There's a kill for Tvik. Good start for Florida Mayhem now. A quick double support slaughter from the side of Boston Uprising. The hooks from Manitin have been so good, and Logic's untouched so far. While Striker, speaking of carries, man, he's got 3 kills already right now, and Manitin just annihilates Boston, resoundingly winning that fight. Nice shot again from Tvik. Oh, and that is a quick win for Boston Uprising, and that's going to put the period on the end of this sentence.
All right, welcome back from the break, everybody. This is it. I mean, Doa put it all right there for us. Very nice, very neat. But, you know, you're right. Striker has been carrying quite a bit. I feel like he's a real standout player right now for Boston.
It's pretty good, but I think when you have a Zenyatta like that, I think if Doa could have redone that voiceover, he would have talked a lot about Nako, who's just been
You're right, actually. You're actually right. We have no subs coming up in this match, so it seems like Boston are confident in sticking to their guns. And, well, we all know that Florida Mayhem, unfortunately, they don't really get the choice. Choice has been made for them. They only have the 6 players in the active roster. Boston actually do have the chance, but it looks like Boston, they're confident. I mean, everything has been working out for them so far. And so, I mean, do you agree with what do you agree with what Sideshow was saying on the desk as far as what Florida need to do to change things up? I mean, he was talking more about execution than anything.
Yeah, I think there are some composition things they can change up, because we saw that New York had the read on Boston yesterday. The read was, we're only going to play anti-dive, and because that's what Boston has shown. And yes, Boston has looked very good when they're in dive, but actually yesterday when we saw them forced off of that, their performance did struggle a little bit. So what you need to do against Boston, we've all seen what Boston's plan A is, and their plan A is very good. What's Boston's plan B? They struggle a little bit in the preseason with that, and when they have to switch things up, that's fine. I think you need to force them to switch things up. Whatever you have to do to get them off the dive. Now, Oasis, you can run a super anti-dive. You can run the halt and hook. You can run a Junkrat into it. McCree is good on a lot of these maps, so I'd be surprised to not see some adjustment from Florida.
And we saw, I mean, Logic's really stood out with the McCree play. He definitely is very good at clicking on heads. And so excited to see that, because it does look like the rosters are getting set up here. And, well, don't know if they're quite toying with us just yet, but Logic's will be on the McCree. And it looks like we will have the halt hook combo coming out from Florida as well. So they're pulling out all the stops here, Hex.
It does appear so. Now, I'm more interested in what we see going on with Boston right now, because it is tank time for the most part, if that's what they're going to stick on. You've got a Zen, gonna help, or sorry, excuse me, a Zarya. You know, those Z's throw me off. Zarya, Reinhardt.
They usually put me to sleep.
And a Roadhog, and then you're gonna have a Moira sighting, keeping all those big bodies alive. We saw this a little earlier on Lunar Colony. We'll see how it works in Oasis.
Yeah, exactly, except that they're not fully committing to it in a way, because you still have Striker, who, and Logic's, unfortunately for him, he gets hooked immediately, and well, there will be the first kill. Striker following that up, but Striker on the McCree, so they haven't gone full tank, but I mean, this is so beastly. I mean, Dreamcaster just hooking and shooting people in the face left and right.
You have to think that's some sort of read, right? Because they're running with the Lucio right there. They almost instinctually know that Florida's going to run the halt and hook with Orisa and Roadhog, so they're going to be set up in a static position. So they boost through pack room, come on the flank, and get those initial kills. Now, when you have all these tanks, how do you even gain entry? How do you crack this? Tvik's going to try to do it with a Roadhog, which can be good against all these tanks.
Alios with full charge. This is brutal. Up to 100. I mean, full energy on the Zarya just means that she is dealing so much damage. You can see her just hunting down Manitin right now, really pouring on the pressure. And then, of course, you can switch over to the grenades and start doing AoE damage as well.
Tvik has something to say about it, though, too. He's got a Tire that came in and took down Nako, so that is a lot of their healing down. And then he straight up jumps onto Zupe, who gets taken out as well.
So I think we can confidently say that we have our answer.
Yeah.
Sick Riptire.
Yeah.
Don't die to the Zarya. And just proceed to roll over everything in sight.
Yeah, Tvik was able to kill both supports. And it's as simple as that in Overwatch. If you don't have any healing, you know, everyone's heard that, I need healing. Well, it's kind of important to the game to need healing. And he was able to take down Nako and Kelix there.
But I don't see a Genji in the game, man. I don't know. You know, the I need healing. I feel like that's always the spam. Never mind. Okay, we're going to have the Graviton coming through. And already to pick another Tire, and again drops both support players. This time, however, Boston have got kills of their own, and so we'll see if they're able to follow up and regain control of this point. And it does look like it. They were able to turn it in their favor, despite Tvik's best efforts. So Kalios with the final frag there on Manitin. But Manitin did manage to hold on to his whole hog, so we'll see when he decides to go for that. And we do have the Valkyrie in play here on Zebasai.
And there's no mercy on the other side of things for Boston, so they're not going to have resurrection mechanics. Although Boston reaching a tipping point of their own, because now you have it to the point of the game where you can start staggering Earth Shatter into grab, into Earth Shatter into grab every single fight. And if you can find value with those ultimates, you're winning team fights.
They need to be careful here. Not wanting to overextend, and as I say it, they do get the hook, but it's still Kalios. Doesn't matter. Manages to get the kill on Manitin before Manitin can do the damage. Zebasai will be there to pick up Manitin once again, though, and I'm liking it here from Striker, being very aware of his positioning, does not want to get too far in there, wants to stay back and just use the Peacekeeper to put the shots in.
They forced them to use the Valkyrie all the way outside before they could even gain entry. No one's even touched the point just yet. A hook and a shot to the dome as Casper and Striker team up for a couple kills. And despite using the Valkyrie, the Mayhem have yet to gain control of the point again.
At least he has held on to it, but right now they are going to give ground once again, just making sure not to overextend. That's so important. Another hook landed by Dream Casper. This man is a menace. Somebody's got to shut him down or at least take his bait away so he stops catching things, because right now the overtime wick is burning, and at least Florida Mayhem have somewhat, at least a little bit of presence here on the point. Logic's in the back line putting those shotguns to use.
The grab did so much work early in this fight, so now it's just desperation, and there's only one body left. That is Logic's, who meets his demise. Boston Uprising with a switch up of tactics. That's not a dive composition. Good to see they can run something else, and it looked like they had a pretty good read on what Florida wanted to run there.
I think you're spot on, Hex, with your initial assessment as well. Getting that flank in there, really just pulling a fast one on Florida and not letting them get comfortable, not letting them set the pace. They were the ones who took the fight to them, and it felt like Florida were never really able to get their legs back under them after that initial conflict.
It's the variant of the tanks, right? Because when you're running Moira, your tanks are this mobile death ball unit. When you're running Orisa and the Mercy, you want to set up statically. Yoink people into the hole. Yoink and set them up for hooks. I think it's called Halt. I've always called it Yoink because I'm a Simpsons fan. But
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. You saw that super aggressive boost in and getting that first hook, and after that, it was Tavik doing his best to keep his team's head above water. Simply wasn't enough.
All right, so once again, it will be a focus on tanks here for Boston. Looks like they're kind of content to run the same thing. We do have McCree on Striker, and he was certainly doing fantastic work. I like this from Capsu, managing the shield. Don't want to let that barrier fade too quickly. Kelix, obviously you got to be worried about Kelix. You do not want to get booped off the side here. So positioning is going to be key for Florida, but the pressure is really getting poured on. Kalios and Striker finding 2 kills to start things off. And again, Boston looking like they'll come out ahead here, capping this point.
This is super fun to watch. When you think of Death Ball, you think of slow, methodical march like a Roman legion. They are just ramping it up. This is a Death Ball on high octane. They're going after it, and it is fun to watch.
It's fun to watch that Reinhardt has hops after all. Yeah. I mean, you'd think that he'd be a bit too heavy in that suit, you know, old age.
He probably has some jets under his shoes. You know, he's got a jet in the hammer, a jet in his back. He's mechanically assisted.
Mechanically assisted. You know, in the future, I hope that I get a suit of armor instead of having to use a cane. But let's see. Dream Casper looking for the hooks in the back line, and he has spotted out Logix again. Turns out you got to do it the other way around, and sure enough, first pick for him. This man, he just cannot be stopped. Dream Casper's just doing so much work.
It seems like a little bit of lack of coordination here because Tavik's all alone, while the person you want to be behind is your Reinhardt, who is up swinging away. They have to burn Valkyrie here, but it only brings them back to even 6v6. Got to get some kills. They get grabbed. The whole hog comes in, but the shields are up.
And the shield is up, but it's not going to last long against the whole hog. That thing pours out so much damage so quickly. And I love the detail as well. Getting the hook on the Reinhardt, dropping the shield as Striker uses the Deadeye. Nowhere to hide. Gets the kill. Right now, Boston are doing a fantastic job. Florida, they're struggling to keep up.
And this is the Death Ball Snowball. You saw grab used there from Zarya, keeping everyone together. That's generally a team fight win. Next is going to be Earthshatter. Can they block it? On the other side of things, Manitin is going to be the man to watch as he's got a Graviton of his own to use.
So once again, they're trying to stay strength in numbers here, Florida. They're trying to stick together, and that's exactly what you want to see. You want to play around that Rhine and the barrier, the protection that it will give you, and there we go. The grab coming out, and this is going to be the big opportunity. We, of course, have Moira just pouring healing in there, and the Coalescence perfectly timed. Nobody dies. Florida unable to get a single kill.
Coalescence, one of the better defensive support ults in the game, especially when you get grabbed. Moira can get out of grab. She's one of the only heroes in the entire game now which can escape a Graviton. Keeps everyone alive with that healing and that Coalescence. They didn't get exactly what they're looking for, and Zebo will fall to Moira. the flex support flexing on offense.
Naiko, man, he is a true force of nature. This is unbelievable. Perfectly done with the orbs as well. That orb does so much damage so quickly. And it will take over, and Boston Uprising will extend their lead. 3 maps, they will win the series. But of course, Florida, when it comes down to the end of the season, every map counts. And so we will be playing out the 4th, and we will be, obviously, if you're a Florida fan, crossing your fingers and hoping that they can get something out of this.
They did get a tweet earlier from T-Pain, so he's rooting for him. He's somewhere out on a boat, hoping that Florida can wipe that 0 off the board.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will have the conclusion of our 2nd series of the day between the Florida Mayhem.
How much does Geico love saving people money on car insurance? More than gamers love energy drinks.
And this is the Blizzard Storm Berry with artificial flavors and tons of caffeine.
Predator puts you in the battle. But the fight is all yours. Summon your strength with Predator Helios with Intel Core i7 processor.
Everybody hyped to get into the final map here of this 2nd series of the day. And so far, I mean, if you're a Boston fan, you're over the moon right now. It's Florida who are trying to figure out a way to put a halt to this devastating offense that they've been having to deal with. I mean, we just had the Dreamcaster show right there with the Roadhog.
And map scores do matter, of course, so we're going to play out this 4th one. And also, I'm not a fan of zeros, man. You got to get that goose egg off the board. No one deserves a 0. We have no subs coming in, but you see it has been the Boston Uprising dominant so far. Dorado, Anubis, Oasis, they looked unstoppable on. Next, we're going to go to Eichenwalde. I've said it like 15 different ways. I get corrected by different people every time, so there's no pleasing everybody, I've learned. This could be a map that I think Boston can continue to run just dive on. It's a fine map to keep diving on. You can take away high ground. So really the onus is going to be on Florida to show some versatility, to understand what they're up against and make the proper changes.
They got caught flat-footed on the last map, which was Oasis. We saw some clever strategies put in use there from Boston to try and counter their anti-dive. But you're right, on the first point here, they are really going to have to find a way to shut the door on Boston. That is going to be Florida. And curious to see what the solution is going to be, because there are a few options when it comes to anti-dive. You've already outlined a few of them.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what they want to run. Of course, Boston will be on defense first as we fly through the map. Now, the second point of Eichenwalde I always found fascinating. It's a really long push. You're generally going to get 2 to 3 fights out here, even if you get full team wiped. And they change so much because as you push through the first bend, then the offense gets advantage of the high ground and you're pushing through this bridge. And I always love a map with a moat. If you can knock someone into a moat, it makes me happy.
I could just picture you with a home, a moat, some gators in there.
Yeah, like Great Expectations. My house has its own personal moat.
Doesn't have to be a big one. It's only like a couple feet wide, but still it's a moat. You dug it yourself.
Yeah, generally I just put a kiddie pool outside the front door.
Enough said. Little inflatable gator. I mean, we're going to get into the action, guys. It has begun. The countdown has begun to get into the last map of this series, and it will be Boston Uprising on the defense as the home team. And on the away team, Florida Mayhem. It's looking like Tvik, at least to start, is looking at the Pharah with fairly common pick here for the first point on Eichenwalde.
Yeah, somewhat uncommon is that the defense is going to run a Pharah of their own in Dreamcasper, so we're going to be treated to a little bit of Top Gun action. Now, sometimes they just duel at each other and no one's hitting any rockets, and then it becomes up to the Tracers on the ground to try to clean up and get some damage done.
You got to follow up on the damage, and this will be down to the comms as well. You have to call out those hot targets, who you need to be focusing on. And they're doing a very fine job right now of not really giving Tvik too many targets to work with. I mean, Tvik right now, you can see he's just kind of chucking rockets in there, hoping that something connects, because the only people he can really get on are the D.Va, and D.Va, of course, can just cancel those out.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of ignoring the Pharah v Pharah, because it can be so volatile when they're so far away. He's just trying to help out the ground war. He's trying to chunk them down, and right away, that D.Va already going to get demeched, I believe, by Tvik right there. So far, though, they've lost one of their healers on the ground on this offense. They might just try to stall out and wait for the Zen to get back into the fight.
Now, Gamsu has just been revived as well, not rezzed, but he has come back to life, and so he'll be making his way back over here. He's got the jump pack, though, so that doesn't take too long for Winston. And so far, they're doing a very good job of stalling things out here, Boston. They've wasted a minute so far for Florida.
Yeah, if you're the defense, you don't care. You're not going to go fight this because they're not doing anything. They're not making any progress. A big chunky rocket out of the Mercy.
Oh, no way, Tvik! 3 rockets in a row, and one of them equals a death. That was big.
Tvik does his best right there. They do actually resurrect the deaths that were on the ground, and it is just Casper right now trying to bring this back for his team. Tvik turns his attention to the ground yet again. Still trying to stall this one out, but based on the back of Tvik's air-v-air, the Sidewinder missiles up there, Florida Mayhem will grab the first point, but they want to stall this out a little more, maybe not.
Oh, and Mercy was able to get there fairly quick as well, so Gamsu lived. He didn't just get picked off immediately. This is going to get a little dicey, though. Calyx will get caught eventually, and that it has to take over. But they really want to try and maximize as much time out of this as possible, Boston. Down to 2 minutes, about 2 minutes 15 before it was finally able to take over there for Florida Mayhem. But you got to give it to Tvik. He was tired of the games.
Yeah,
he's tired of the defensive games. If you guys aren't going to bring the fight to me, well, I'm going to go to you, and you aren't going to like it. Showing us how versatile he is.
Watch Manitin here, because the self-destruct can be so good against a Pharah and Mercy, especially on this area where they're going to be caught out in the open. There's not a whole lot of geography they can use to get out of there again. That is a brave resurrection from Calyx. Will they make him pay for it?
That's unbelievable. The question is whether Striker's going to cash in on it as well. I mean, he's still here. They are on the payload. By the way, Florida, you need to push that. And Boston, they're playing so aggressively right now, taking advantage of this choke point and really trying to pour the pressure on, and sure enough, Striker, he gets a kill on Zebasai. I think they're going to continue to stall out here.
Is ideally where you want to hold on defense, actually. It's called a gate hold, and there's really no good way to break it. You got to use ultimates to break it, which is a win for the defense if you have to start using support ultimates to get through here.
Oh!
And look at that! He did not bring in an umbrella, and Justice reigns from above.
Oh, the style points. You gotta love it. And Manitin, well, Manitin, he does have the self-destruct, and that's exactly what he's gonna use here to try and just finally turn the tide towards Florida. And it will happen. I mean, Striker is still around. He's trying to be a nuisance. He's buying a little bit more time here. They just can't finally Tvik is able to connect with the rocket.
Again, already a win right there, because that 0 next to Zebasai's name means he used Valkyrie just to get out of the gate. That's exactly what you want to force out of the defense. Boston's done a great job this entire match of forcing ultimates and making their opponent play into that.
I'm liking this as well. The fact that Dreamcasper and Calyx are able to get through. You can see Florida, we're trying to bottle up Boston by a little bit more time, not let them to get out through the choke point doorways there. But instead, thanks to Dream, you actually have the space to work with here. Gamsu just doing his thing. I mean, he is so good at getting in and just causing chaos.
Yeah, Gamsu has been crushing it today. He's cleaning up all the kills. Him and Striker working so well together in that dive, that unit of Tracer and Winston. Not only is it lore that they're very good friends, but in the game they work well together.
Yeah, it was Doomfist who wasn't too happy about that friendship. Ended up costing him a few years, I think.
I don't think I've ever met a happy Doomfist.
Doomfist, well, they're out there somewhere. Actually, there was on Reddit, there was a sick thread. Style points for that Doom over there. Okay, whatever. You guys can go and check it out if you want during the break. But now, it is going to be Striker doing his thing, and sure enough, it is exactly that. Finds a kill immediately.
The most appropriate name right now in all the Overwatch League, Striker, as he continues to go forth and conquer this team. It's all the way in back. No escape from Striker's pulse pistols. My goodness. Florida's going to try to go to the well and find something to crack through. Tavik was on a Widow for a moment to try to deal with it because Casper simply got the better angles on the Pharah. Instead, he's on the McCree, but if they're going to door hold, I don't know where McCree's going to set up a good angle to try to get to this Pharah Mercy.
Exactly right, especially because he's going to be somewhat limited with the barriers. Doesn't really have an Orisa or a Reinhardt to stand behind and just plink away with. So Tavik, he's going to have to work some of his magic here, and we'll see if he can pull it off. Gamsu is dangerously close, and he actually goes for the Primal Rage just to stay alive. Keep the pressure going. Tavik will connect with Kelix, but Dreamcasper's right there to get that frag right back.
They sent in Swoosh early to create the chaos factor so that Tavik could try to pick people up on the ground as he made space up top with the Primal Rage. Logix finally comes to life. One of the first times we've seen him in the kill feed on Eichenwald, taking out Casper and DMEC and Kalios. That's a full reset. But knowing Boston, if they can get the proper spawns, they're going to fight this yet again. They're not giving up door for free.
You can already see him peek it out. Zupe was hoping to get the volley in there. There we get a cheeky frag, but instead we're going to get the replay here from Logix, who definitely went to work, keeping so much damage. Exactly, the pulse bomb. Oh, the collateral. That's brutal, and already we've got the fight going here. Dreamcasper with the barrage manages to pick up 2 kills, but Zebasai is there with the res to keep the fight going. And so now it's on Logix, kind of dodging around. It will not fall to the self-destruct. Clean play from him, good use of mechanics.
Well, they took down both tanks very early in that fight, so there's going to be no one to really block any of this damage. And here Zebo comes in, does bring up Tavik. It's a post-Valkyrie resurrection. Still trying to fight this out, but it might be time for a reset. But I think that time actually may have passed. Only 16 seconds. Got to stay alive. Got to keep someone up so you can touch the cart. That's crucial because Logix is going to be the guy who has to get to the cart and keep it alive.
Finally, that was starting to get a little ridiculous there. But there, they have to get some kind of presence. Time is ticking down. 2 seconds left. Who's going to commit? It looks like it will be Swoosh fighting there with the Tesla cannon, trying to keep things alive. And there it is, the Transcendence used in Vuln. Zenyatta just buying as much time as possible. They need to win this fight decisively, Florida, but Boston doing a fairly decent job of keeping their hopes going.
Well, they have to stay on the cart, but now they're not going to have a resurrection. Zebo died early in that last fight and switched to Lucio to get back to the point. He gets back to the point, but all for naught as Kelix brings Dreamcasper back to life. No resurrections on the side of the Mayhem, and it looks like that is a bridge too far.
Sure enough, Dreamcasper, just a barrage of missiles at the end. And I mean, all right, Hex, what do Florida need to do here now to try and make this happen for them? Because it doesn't feel like they were able to push that payload too far.
There are strategies on Eichenwald that involve some of the finest cheddar cheese in the world.
It turns out I'm French. We're fans of cheese. Hit me. What we got?
Well, I'm from Wisconsin. We make a pretty mean sharp cheddar. Torb can happen on first point offense. You can put a Torb and a Orisa in a corner and try to deal with it that way. I don't think the Pharah v Pharah went well enough for them that they want to run a Pharah on the defense. I think maybe Logix runs a Soldier 76 to try to put some pressure on what I'm assuming will be an offensive Pharah and Mercy. And then McCree can be run by Tavik. You could switch those up either way, but I think you can run a double hit scan into this. The McCree sits with the supports and make sure Striker at least has to think twice about getting back to the back line there, maybe a flashbang headshot, and then enough pressure to force them off of it. Now that'll work once or twice, and then Casper's gonna switch to Genji, and you have to hope you can deal with that.
You're gonna have to deal with multiple of the targets. I mean, he's only got one flashbang. It takes a little bit of time to get them back. So,
which is why you need someone else to deal with the other target. Because McCree can be overwhelmed. One of the best duelers in the game. If you have played any of the deathmatch in Overwatch, you know it's 7 McCrees, and then you're the dumb guy who picks Tracer.
No. You're the annoying guy who picks Moira. You're the really, really annoying guy who picks Moira.
I'm the person in the chateau in the basement playing Symmetra. So.
Oh, man.
Come on down to the turret party.
You're an abomination next. I don't know what to say. So now we're going to get to a bit of a look at the setup, and it doesn't look like, well, I mean, we will have the McCree in play, so they will have some answers here for the Pharah,
but this is the dive catcher. That's what it's supposed to be. That's why you have the Junkrat, why you have the McCree, and why you have the Roadhog. This has worked on several other maps. This has worked for New York against Boston. However, Boston not running a traditional dive. They're going to try to boost in. Oddly enough, they're not running a Zenyatta, but they're going to try to just get angles. This is cool, but Casper goes over the top first and is met by Logix.
He's gonna get it. He does get over eventually. That was awkward. Oh, man. I love it, though. I love seeing innovative play. That's what it's all about.
You know when your parents asked if your friends jumped off a bridge, so would you? I believe the answer is yes, and sometimes it makes sense.
Listen, playing in high places, sometimes it gets painful.
Okay, so they tried something cool. Now they're back to pure dive. Nako has gone over to the Zenyatta, and Casper's on the Genji. So this should be, in theory, Florida should be able to catch this correctly, but Boston's dive is really well synced.
It's what we saw in Anubis, right? Second map, they really looked clean. They were good on the coordination, and already Nako just pouring it in. He picks up 1 kill already. That's going to help. And Dreamcasper is there to follow it up, and this is not looking good right now for Florida. They need to hang in here, and it's just not happening. Nako's not letting them. Nako doing so much damage. Logix, Swoosh, everybody falls to him and his orbs.
And it's the order in which that happens, too. You take out the Junkrat first from a distance, and then your Tracer feels comfortable because she doesn't have to worry about the nade spam. I mean, it's not spam, it's area denial, whatever you want to call it. Then that goes in, takes down the Roadhog, so no one else has to worry about hooks, and then there goes McCree.
All right, Dreamcasper.
Up top, he's gonna try to cause some trouble. It's why Genji can be so good. He can climb walls. Wish I had that ability. Unfortunately, I can barely climb a ladder, but that is going to push them back. But no worries, they were just trying to get aggressive, and if they won that fight, they were gonna get ultra aggressive, send their flankers back to the gates, which they still will do, but that door isn't even open yet.
And Striker doing what Striker does best, which is exactly that. Harass the back lines, keep a little bit of a, make sure that they can't get too comfortable up there on the high ground, just letting them know, I know where you are. You're not gonna get a good night's sweet sleep here tonight.
Boston banking ultimates here, and they'd be a good investment to look forward to win this next fight. Valkyrie up, Transcend up, both DPS ults about to be up as well.
All right, well, there we go. Dreamcasper ready to dive in. He's getting zapped a little bit, but that doesn't matter when he's throwing shurikens and they hit the face of Logix. Everything is groovy for him, and he's even got the Dragon Blade in his back pocket as well, just looking for those soft targets to start chopping to bits, and he has spotted one. Logix gonna be worried just a little bit, and it looks like he doesn't even really want to use it. They've won this fight so convincingly, and they've done a very fine job of building up 3 other ults here to use in the next engagement, Boston.
Yeah, they've been fiscally conservative for sure. They both traded Valkyries that last fight, but it was Boston who came out on top. This is gonna be a pulse bomb towards the end, and you just want the one with the stick, but if they happen to back up into someone else, you'll take the 2 right there, into the carts. Takes down his Mercy. That is an apology letter waiting to happen.
Super clean. Just art. And all now Dreamcasper, you can see he's looking for the targets. He's hunting, and while Kalios doesn't even need the help, he's got the self-destruct, and he's already taken out Zebasai, and so this fight is looking just a little bit grim here for Florida. They're running out of space to work with as well, and Dream eventually will figure out a way to get out of there. Tight spot when you've got an angry monkey just beating your face in.
But it's really smart. The deflect doesn't put that damage back, but it does prevent you from taking that damage, so he stays alive. He knows that they've traded off their support players, so it's just going to be a brawl. However, the source of healing that Boston has is that payload. The payload will heal the team pushing it, so you do have a small advantage when healing when all other options are gone.
So now quick move out here from Florida. Just doing the best that they can to try and stall things out, and finally we're gonna see the Dragon Blade take effect, and there it is, the perfect situation for Dreamcasper. All of them stacked up, that's exactly what he wants, and just like that, the Florida Mayhem, they get swept. The payload is moving forward, and there are no kills for Manitou. The self-destruct did go off, but it wasn't good enough, and he is the last solution here. He is the last option for Florida, and it wasn't good enough. Boston, they will close it with a resounding victory, 4-0 over the Florida Mayhem.
Dreamcasper put the hopes of Florida to bed there. He is their closer. Striker keeps it up during it, but I talked about earlier in the Assault maps, and Genji's been a must-pick on Assault, in my opinion, for a long time because he can close out a team by himself and quickly. That's how you win fights. You don't want to have to deal with people staggering back. Oh no, there's a Mercy coming back. Now there's 3 people alive. You kill everyone, and Dragon Blade is one of the best ultimates to do it.
Especially when you've got your teammates that are working with you as well, to just group them all up together. Does AoE with those slashes. It's a sword. It happens to go through multiple things that they have to be standing next to each other. Pretty cool, that.
Well, and Gamsu, I mean, he's just always in their face, so everyone's backing off. He puts Baby in the corner, and Dreamcasper comes in like a horror movie, slashes everyone to bits. Yes, he's going to get all the credit because that's how the kill feed works, but these tanks for Boston have been ultra impressive. The supports have stepped up, and I think, you know, they've opened a lot of eyes, even just by taking a map yesterday. What they just did to Florida was impressive.
Yeah, NAKO in particular stands out. But we are now going to hand it over to Zoe, who's on the floor with Dreamcasper for an interview. Zoe, it's all you.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, Dreamcasper is now joining me. First of all, of course, give it up for the Boston Uprising, who just took this match in a convincing fashion. Now, coming into this, you guys embraced the role of the underdogs. You couldn't stress it enough. After a convincing win like that and a solid performance yesterday against NYXL, do you still consider yourself that?
Not really. Like, I think, yeah, we're like, people consider us underdogs, but I don't think, as shown, we're not as underdogs anymore. So I think we can rise to the top.
Between the two of us, I don't think you're underdogs whatsoever. Now, looking back at the holiday season, word on the street, and mainly in the Blizzard Arena, was that you guys stayed here and practiced really hard. What was the main focus?
Well, we were focusing just on our NYXL match, and then we prepared for that, but there were small obstacles we couldn't cross over. But after that match, we prepared really hard for Mayhem, and it worked out really good.
Yeah, this obviously paid off. We can't wait to see you guys again on this stage. Thanks a lot for joining me here. And you guys should stay tuned. We're going to break down this match after just a quick break. So we'll be right back.
Boston Uprising coming out swinging 4-0 as they send Florida Mayhem now to the bottom of the leaderboard. Fantastic performance from Boston, and during halftime, we highlighted one of their star players, Dream Casper. He's done a great job on the DPS heroes, but coming into our third map for the control, he switched over to the tank.
He did indeed, yeah. He had an outstanding performance on the Roadhog in particular in Oasis, and we've got some statistics to back it up as well, which is the beauty of it. We can bring this one up as well, and we can take a look at, in particular, at his hook accuracy. This was absolutely nutty. I think he ended up with... There's only been 3 people in the entirety of the Overwatch League with a hook accuracy over 60%. He ended it with 88%. That's the highest that anyone's got in the Overwatch League so far. It's beating out players like Meko, Taimu. A ridiculous performance. Hard carry by definition on Oasis.
Hit that one more time. How many players have above 60% out of everyone in the Overwatch League?
Only 3 players, and he's #1 right now with this one matchup against Florida Mayhem. It's absolutely crazy.
Sideshow, you're a mediocre Overwatch player like myself. We're low diamonds. Let's talk about your skill. What's your highest percentage?
Probably about 2, I think, over the course of a Never had a hard carry performance like Dream Casper on this one, but it was unbelievable. More so just because he was playing against Manatin, who we consider to be a fairly competent Roadhog and puts up very consistent performances, but he can't match these same heights from Dream Casper.
Yeah, the interesting thing about it as well is Manatin on the Roadhog himself, he had 50% hook accuracy, and that is considered a good performance. I mean, a hook accuracy of around 40 to 50% is considered good. But then when, I mean, what you do when he shows up with 88%, it's on another level.
So Boston has definitely shown us so much improvement since the preseason. We've seen so many new looks from this squad, so many new lineups in the play. How strong is their triple tank?
It's pretty interesting, actually, because I think this is the first time we've seen it from them, and it does look very competent. I think the key to a triple tank is having it sounds silly, but having a good frontline tank setup and having a star Roadhog. Having those 3 pieces together will give you a very powerful triple tank setup. And Neko as well on the Moira looked fantastic. He was getting into all sorts of tricky situations, making good use of the damage she can do as well.
Yeah, I was dead impressed with the entirety of Boston, to be honest. The way they were flexing from different composition to composition. We haven't really seen them play the triple tank before, but they came out swinging, and Florida didn't really know to expect it. They played it to a very high level as well, which is the most impressive factor. We seem to be drifting towards this metagame, this tank-heavy lineups. We've seen it with Dallas Fuel running it. We've seen it with Seoul Dynasty running it as well throughout these games. I got a feeling now that we're going to start to see a little bit more, and the fact that Boston can run it convincingly, it bodes well for them in the future.
Does that mean we're going to see more Ana in the future and those anti-grenades, or is it Moira now in the comps?
It's got to be Moira. I feel like Moira is the key piece with her release. The amount of healing that she can put out is unparalleled to any other hero.
Let's keep it moving into game number 4 already. The match is done, but the maps matter. Every single map will be counted, and if there's tiebreakers at the end, we're going to be looking at some big numbers. So let's talk about Eichenwald, because things were looking up for a little bit there for the Florida Mayhem, but what were some of the issues that this composition ran into?
So we started off with a Pharah v Pharah on Eichenwald, which was pretty interesting, and we saw Tweak have one of his best performances throughout the match, really, coming out with a standout performance on that hero. But then once we drifted over into set dive compositions, with both teams running a Genji or Tweak on the McCree attempting to shut down Dream Casper, he was outclassed. And typically we think of Tweak as being an incredibly high skill player, and Dream Casper made him look average throughout the course of this match.
Yeah, so interesting statistic in terms of the general play of Boston once again was the fact that Zupe was getting focused down quite a lot this game, in particular on Eichenwald. He had 15 deaths by the end of it. That's much higher than really should be happening when you're playing Zenyatta. That's mainly down to your tank play in general. If your tanks aren't really peeling for you and protecting for you, you're going to have a high amount of deaths. But Boston's game plan coming into that map was to try and focus down Zupe, who they recognized was a weak link.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the Florida Mayhem, something that I've identified, I think is a bit of an issue, is that they have a lot of more safe kind of passive playstyles on a lot of their players. Both of their supports like to play in the backline. Zupe isn't the guy that gets up in your face and tries to get kills. And both of their tank players are fairly passive as well. So who's making the room for the supports? Who's splitting apart? Who's making the room for Tweak here as well? They basically only have Logics attempting to go for these plays. I think that's really hurting them.
Florida definitely has to make some adjustments. They come in with the smallest roster, and they can't add more pieces until the end of stage 1. We'll talk about those issues in the future. For now, though, I want to show off one of the coolest strategies we've seen so far. Didn't necessarily work, But Sideshow, you asked our replay team, can you put this together? Let's take a second look at it. What was Boston trying to do on their attack on Eichenwald?
I mean, Kellex looked like he was going for a skiing trip. We can take a look at this highlight. And this is just from the mini-map view. So you can see Striker flanking on the left. Dreamcatcher comes in, and this push is ruined immediately because he gets domed by Logix. And then you see Kellex struggling to get over the top, and you could tell that over scrims, we'll have another view here where you can see Kellex as well. He's skirting around, bouncing off the chimneys, using the boost where you get when you disengage from the wall to give that extra speed and push him over. But as I said, this strat essentially fell through as soon as Logix got that headshot onto Dreamcasper at the beginning. Yeah. But I love the idea. It was phenomenal to see it work.
Do you think teams are going to expect that in the future, or is that too risky of an opening strategy to try again?
Do you know what? I don't even think it's that risky. It just was Logix hitting an incredible shot to immediately take out the Pharah. It might be a little bit predictable, but as long as they can execute it, it does give you a nice entry to the right-hand side of the point. You can avoid the archway completely.
Bren, we're running out of time, so real quick, biggest issue with Florida Mayhem right now. They're going to use the same six-man roster. We know that for the rest of the stage one. So what should they look to improve? What do they need to practice on? What heroes could they expand onto?
I feel like they just need to tighten up their tank play a little bit more, swoosh with the overextensions. We touched on it briefly in the previous segments as well. It is down to mainly the tank play, in my opinion. If they tighten that up, Manhattan tends to be playing quite well, but Swoosh is a little bit off tempo with the rest of his team. If they get that going and they get their traditional dive under wraps as well, we might see the team that we've known in the past.
All right, well, we got to close out this segment with, once again, it's our player of the match, and this is, of course, is going to be sponsored by Omen by HP, and we had to give it to Dreamcasper. This is one of my favorite plays. You dive up, get the Mercy, shut down the Florida push, and he just kept impressing from hero to hero, map to map. He was on fire all match long.
It's crazy, actually, that this guy has come out of almost nowhere, never been on a top team before, and is giving these kind of performances on Boston Uprising. He's got so much pressure on his shoulders, but he performs again and again and again. It's phenomenal.
Not many players can really be put into the position that he's been put in, shoved onto the main stage at the Overwatch League without much experience in teams and perform at this level, but he seems to be doing it all. It doesn't matter what he's playing, Hanzo, Genji, Roadhog, he's just coming out hot and really sort of putting this performance and the entirety of his team of Boston on his back when Striker's not really turning up as much as he usually does.
The president said he was looking for diamonds in the rough. I think he definitely found one there in Dreamcasper. That is going to do it for our second match of the day. We still have plenty more to go. When we return, the Shanghai Dragons, they get another chance. Will they be able to get some map wins? We're going to find out on the other side of this.
Shanghai Dragons will go ahead and win that attack round. And San Francisco Shock, they will take the series as well. Just a really, really well executed push by Shanghai Dragons here. San Francisco got some kills. What a start. Dia still causing a lot of trouble. Baby Bay has just been on fire. Oh.
Red. It's time for our third and final match of the day. Welcome back to the Overwatch League. We are during the regular season, and this, of course, is just day 3 of many days of action coming your way. I'm your host, Chris Bucket. We got the desk back in action. We got Brent Sideshow, and Zoe is joining us once again, and we are gearing up for a great matchup between the San Francisco Shock and the Shanghai Dragons. Let's catch everybody up at home, though, of how things have sorted out so far today. Real quick thoughts here, Sideshow, as we look back at our opening match. What did we see when we saw the Valiant take on the Dallas Fuel?
Yeah, we saw a great matchup of aggressive, dive-centric play going up against Dallas Fuel, a team that's normally been able to shut that down but struggled a lot. LA Valiant looked crisp, great teamwork, excellent ult focuses, perfect play from them.
And then, of course, we saw Florida Mayhem fall 0-4 to the Boston Uprising. Quickly, Bren, how'd it happen?
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed in my European brethren. I had a lot of faith in them, actually, to be honest, to be winning this one out 4-0. But in the end, it was, of course, Boston Uprising who got the upper hand on them in a 4-0 sweep.
All right, so Boston gets their first win. Now we're going to find out who gets the first win of the Overwatch League regular season between the San Francisco Shock and the Shanghai Dragons. Let's get right to it. Please welcome to the stage, the San Francisco Shock. Now, Zoe, this squad fell to the Valiant, which has proven to be a very strong team, 4-0 on the opening day. How is the team feeling coming into today's match?
Yeah, I've just been in the dugout and I actually got to talk to their coaching staff, Partial, Legit, and Brand. Brad, I'm sorry. That
not
way,
me.
right?
I'm not
Brad.
a coach.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're definitely not a coach. They got to talk to them. They said the guys feel a lot better. The scrims yesterday went a lot better. They said the loss they had against the Valiant, a lot of it was inexperience in a serious environment. They had a very emotional response when the game just didn't go their way.
Bren, when you looked at this squad, yes, they lost all 4 games, but were any of the players standing out for you?
Yeah, so we've gone on to death about Baby Bay and how good he is as a hit scan player, but one in particular that I thought was pretty good was the tank player Nevix, and he had a very impressive performance on the D.Va throughout all of his games. It seems like his game sense is very much up to par with a lot of the other better D.Vas in the Overwatch League, but what's most impressive about his performance on the D.Va is the fact that he's traditionally been a jack of all trades. He's moved from role to role, and tank is something that's very much new to him, and he's still putting up a strong performance.
This team has shown us as well that they can perform. In the preseason, they had a surprisingly good performance, and I'd expect that to continue as it peaks and troughs throughout the season.
That's the San Francisco Shock. It's time to introduce their opponents. Please put your hands together for the Shanghai Dragons. Shanghai fell to the Gladiators 4-0. And they're hoping they could make an improvement from the preseason. It wasn't the greatest opening match for this squad, but Sideshow, what are you hoping to see from the team today?
Yeah, as you said, they struggled a little bit in the preseason. We thought perhaps the gap, amount of practice and preparation would see this team improve. It is still very early days for Shanghai Dragons. And this is a match that they can potentially put up some map scores, get themselves on there, maybe even come out with the win as well. They are the underdogs coming into this one, but we've seen that they have a star DPS player. He's on the screen right now, that's Dia, and he will be able, or has the opportunity to shut down Baby Bay in these matches.
So Dia, I'm glad you mentioned him, because he is going to need to perform up to a high standard if they want to be taking this matchup against San Francisco Shock, and we know that he's capable of it. We've seen him in the preseason, didn't have a particularly strong performance in the previous game that he played yesterday against the LA Gladiators. However, we do know that he can perform, and I want Undead as well alongside him. This DPS duo, as soon as they get that down on lock, they should be having a better time in this matchup.
Let's talk big picture here. How do the two play styles compare between the Shock and the Shanghai Dragons? We've only seen one match from them in the regular season.
Yeah, well, the San Francisco Shock, when we saw them play against the LA Valiant, were playing a very anti-dive style, all clustered round each other, trying to protect Baby Bay when he was on the McCree. We haven't seen too much raw dive coming out from the Shanghai Dragons because they don't have that star Genji player on their roster. So I think these have got quite even, scrappy individual styles where we'll see a lot of big performances from these hit scan players and less so from the tanks.
Bren, if you're looking for Shanghai to walk away with their first win of the regular season, outside of the DPS players, what are you looking at more? Is it the support or the tanks?
The support play of Shanghai, I'm expecting a stronger performance all around. I feel Altering as well needs to just step up basically his general play just a little bit more to counteract it. San Francisco Shock's general play style of the protect the baby base strategy, as we like to call it, it can be dismantled quite easily as long as Shanghai are on top of their game.
I think both of those teams are mechanically really strong in terms of their players, and that's why I personally really look forward to see them playing on Ilios. Ilios was a map both of those teams performed really well. They did not win it, however, they did show us great strength on that map, so that's going to be my personal highlight, hopefully.
Ilios is coming up for map number 3. Looking forward to this battle. San Fran going up against Shanghai, and it's time to kick it off. Let's send it over to our casters from South Korea, back to America. It's Monty Adoa.
That's right. It's a huge international get-together here. We're American, but we just spend a lot of... It's a jamboree. It's a festival. It's a brouhaha. Well, it's more of a fight, but I mean, we're going to see some sick fighting in our match. You see that segue? That was amazing, right?
Wow, you killed it.
I know, right? Thank you very much. San Francisco Shock, there they are on your screen right now. Both these teams winless, but going into this one, Shock, you got to say they should be favored a bit, huh?
Well, I think you'd say that. We'll see if the Shanghai Dragons can really turn it around, because they not only didn't take a map, they only took 1 point across 4 maps, but somebody is going to be taking home a victory tonight, a chance to turn the season around very early on for these guys and start to set up something a bit more positive.
Very true. It's been rough for these guys, of course. And, we've seen things in the past that tell us things like Roshan is actually a pretty good Winston, but he hasn't seeming to be getting the support he needs from his support. Maybe things will change. It's a long season, so there is time. Let's check out our maps. There they are. There they go. They're gone already, but we're going to Junkertown, guys. Our first map of this 4-map series. This is a map that has, for me, embodied so much frustration, but also so much fun. I mean, we've seen such amazing games on it.
Funstration.
It's funstration. Absolutely. My heart is torn in different directions by Junkertown, but no doubt. In the Overwatch League, we have been seeing a lot of great games on this one.
Yeah, and especially earlier today, obviously, that thrilling 8-7 finish between the Valiant and the Fuel.
Yeah.
This time, we're probably going to see more of that double sniper setup. We'll see what the teams are going to pull out in terms of composition.
If you guys missed that Dallas Fuel LA Valiant series earlier in the day, definitely do yourselves a favor and go back and watch that one again. That was a seriously incredible set of maps.
Yeah, it was quite fun. Neither of these particular teams have played Junkertown yet. Both were on Dorado for their first match.
Well, we've certainly seen a trend on this map, haven't we? Of the double sniper with the Bastion. It's kind of supplanted a bit of the quote-unquote pick style that we saw earlier.
Yeah, you do wonder, however, what on attack this Shanghai Dragons roster is going to do, because they've been so heavily in favor of double hit scan compositions and have mostly shied away from a lot of the projectile heroes. But we are going to see Dia pull out the Junkrat to kick things up. Roshan on the Orisa, and it will be Undead back on the Widowmaker. So only 1 sniper here, but they will have a lot of damage from the grenades from Junkrat to start breaking down these barriers on the cart. Sleepy will be on the Bastion.
Very true. San Francisco Shock on the attack. Shanghai Dragons on the defense as we get things started. And San Francisco looking to set a solid time here. Nevix watching for those early hooks, but Shanghai playing this one pretty far back, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, but they have to stay away from the Halt. Halt's going to fly over the top. They're going to know nobody is on the high ground right now, and that means they're going to be backing off even further. Roadhog from Shanghai on the flank, and this is the traditional, at least recently traditional, we would say, composition of double snipers that we have seen on Junkertown attack.
It's a new tradition. Dia does fall early, Altering, uses the res to bring him back up again. Whoa, and Baby Bay sneaks around for the kill on Undead. You do not see a lot of flanks like that, and it's the Baby Bay show already here on Junkertown.
And it was the Baby Bay show in the preseason for the San Francisco Shock. He was looking dominant.
Oh boy.
Mine not going to be able to take Dia up onto that high ground, meaning Baby Bay still is going to get some nice targets here on the reinforcing members of Shanghai from spawn.
Yeah. I mean, Baby Bay has really been the standout player on San Francisco Shock. You saw his team really trying to take extra efforts into protecting this guy, and for good reason. He puts down so much pressure, so much damage, even escapes hooks once in a while. That's good.
Yeah, he is, and the teams that have been able to shut this San Francisco Shock roster down have done it by neutralizing Babybay, and most recently with the Valiant, by punishing some overly aggressive positioning by Sleepy in particular, but Dak as well with the Mercy. But Sleepy this time going to be really accountable to only himself, dealing the damage on the Bastion, so less of an opportunity for him to mistime a peek like he was on Zenyatta during the Valiant match.
Yep. All right, San Francisco setting up a high ground position to try to get that payload forward. Another nice hook comes in from Nevix. Has to get behind that shield. Ooh, he gets pulled down. Pops a breather to stay alive, and there's a whole hog now. Shanghai getting pushed back a little bit here.
Roshan going to try and survive, but that's not going to be Sleepy. Just rolls through in the tank mode, and nobody's really stopped this payload for very long on the side of the Shanghai Dragons.
Not really. The only time it's paused is when San Francisco Shock has paused it themselves to get that good position on the high ground.
Yeah, and they're just going to head straight into Point C here with a wealth of time in the bank, 5.5 minutes. And they haven't been forced off of these double snipers. You know, usually we see some hold as Undead will take out Dante, who is pretty far forward there.
Babybay looking for some revenge. Has to back off, though.
Dante probably going to switch off. Yes, now the Tracer comes through, but the fact that he hasn't had to switch off already all the way through Point B is unusual for Junkertown.
Well, Undead finding the pick finally, and then Dia comes in with the Riptire onto Sleepy, so Shanghai Dragons with a chance here to stall out this payload. Babybay, or rather Nomi, finds himself on his own on the Orisa, and it looks like San Francisco Shock is going to have to reset here.
Yeah, with these choke points, if you start to lose with those double snipers, you're never really going to be able to get back into position again, so it's time to switch off. Babybay not going to be convinced, however. They will keep one of them around, but Nevix now going onto the D.Va.
Yeah, that's right. Dante on the Tracer. Right choice there. Dia backing up with that Junkrat. Trying to retreat to the high ground now. Just rain grenades from above, but already Shock pushing that payload.
And we're going to see some more high ground control. Undead actually falls to Nevix.
Wow.
Get himself into a line of safety on that Widowmaker. Sleepy also taking out Free Fields is a good opportunity for the San Francisco Shock to continue pushing forward.
Sleepy is one of those Zens that you really need to watch out for. I mean, he's really good at getting those picks when you're not expecting it. Pretty accurate with those Orbs of Destruction. And that payload's getting close to finishing this attack run here. Shanghai Dragons, if they're going to do something, they need to do it now. Roshan and Undead already dead before this fight begins, though.
They're going to get pushed off. I mean, Shusha funneled off into the side. He's going to be able to get some healing from that Mega health back and actually manage to stay back. That's pretty big for the conclusion of this engagement. Might be Shanghai Dragons able to spawn into this.
Now, Ultring was able to use the Valkyrie to bring people back up again, and now San Francisco Shock has to kind of take a bit of a break. They're pushing forward slowly. They did have to lead the payload for a moment. Sleepy does go down. Gets brought back up again. It's a D.Va battle on the top.
Yeah, they're holding onto the Transcendence, though. Sleepy going to pop it just as he dies. However, that is going to be Nevix losing his mech, so not healed up in time. And now he's going to try and get it right back by using the blaster. Does contribute significantly to some kills.
A Bunny Blaster Rambo coming in on the side of Shock, man. Nevix making his presence felt. Well, then feels the presence of Dia a little bit, too. It's becoming quite a grind for Shock, and they are beginning to struggle a little bit here. Maybe Babybay can see them through. Dante pushing that payload.
I mean, he did get both DPS players there and force them back to respawn.
Yeah.
With the shield down, you're just not going to get any more big hits from that Widowmaker. Not enough damage to keep this payload moving. So 2 minutes, 35 seconds remaining, and it's just not quite there yet for the Shock. Shanghai Dragons has done a good job of just ticking down this clock, as we can see here a lot of the time in Point C. Completion is a difficulty.
Yeah, getting set up for another attack now. Babybay went down, got back up during the meantime.
Both Widowmakers using their ultimates, trying to punish
Babybay
for peeking.
Ooh, Dia falls as well. That was nearly a kill onto Ultring. Now Dante trying to build up that ult. He's got it. Shusha taking a lot of damage from that Tracer. Nomi did fall, though, so again, Shock having to back away. 2 minutes left in the time bank. They've certainly got opportunities yet to finish this attack run, but It's getting a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, Babybay also going to switch to the Genji. He does have enough time left to build up a Dragon Blade, and I think this is smart too. You need to put more pressure onto the actual cart, and
there's a kill.
Yeah. Roshan has actually been doing a good job of stopping this. Dante gets a little bit of free time pushing the payload, though.
Yeah, Undead has had a lot of free firing time too on that Widowmaker. A lot of easy shots lined up for him here. Doesn't get that one, has to back away now. Gets back for a little bit of healing at spawn. Looks like he's gonna swap. Goes over to the McCree now. Wants that flashbang to make a difference. Freefeel forced back. There's the Transcendence coming up for both sides. Jusha did take down Babybay with the self-destruct, but that payload is still nearly there. Maybe Shock can push it just that little bit farther.
I don't know if they're going to be able to, Doa. A lot of people getting resurrected right now, but maybe they can push them off the payload just enough to get it moving.
Oh, Dak getting low, taken down by Roshan. Without the Mercy, it's going to be a little bit tricky here. And yeah, Shanghai pushing San Francisco back one more time.
Less than a minute remaining. Babybay up to 75% of that Dragon Blade, and so he will have an opportunity to pull that ultimate out without any kind of support ultimates on the side of the Shanghai Dragon, as everything was dumped into the last fight.
Shanghai's been pushed around all round, but they have found quite a bit of stability here on point C. One last attack coming in for San Francisco Shock. They desperately need this one to work, as this is the difference between 2 and 3 points for them, and they lose Dante early. That hurts really bad with 20 seconds left, and now Sleepy falls as well. Shanghai taking the opportunity, jumping in, and they may have finished it right there. Desperation coming in for San Francisco, but it will be tough to take it in the last 10 seconds.
And in the preseason, in the regular season, it has been Dia who's been coming up for Shanghai Dragons when they've looked good. And those are the picks you need. Wins the Tracer duel, gets the Zenyatta as well, and now it's all or nothing for the Shock.
Babybay's got the Dragon Blade on the outside, but Roshan takes him down. Shanghai holding strong for the moment here. Nevix on the payload, but low health. Gets a bit of healing. D.Va on the outside. There's the self-destruct. Can they get there? Looks like Jusha sacrifices his mech to do it. Nevix still on the payload. This is crazy. Finally, D-Mech does the rest of the Shanghai Dragons come in. And as OT ticks away, Dante can't get there, and that is it. So San Francisco Shock.
So close at the end of that match, but credit to the Shanghai Dragons, who had to hold point C for 5.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Finally stabilizing, forcing some switches out of the San Francisco Shock attack, and finding that success.
All right, and we've got a Sounds of the Game replay, so let's check out what happened in the players' cons.
I play Hunt.
I know the way.
I know that way.
Do you know the way?
There was actually one guy with the way sign.
Really?
The way. Yeah.
This is the way. I know that way. Some guy should stand at the entrance like, guys, this is the way. Follow the way. Cosplay, there's Knuckles. You can the Knuckles.
I play Hunt.
I know the way.
I know that way.
Do you know the way?
There was actually one guy with the way.
That was
hearing some Florida Mayhem.
This is the way. I know that way. Some guy should stand at the entrance like, guys, this is the way. Follow the way.
We're the same as
we could be on that stage.
No, I don't think we could be, ever. We're the old men of gaming.
I know the way.
I know that way.
Do you know the way?
There was actually one guy with the way.
That was
hearing some Florida Mayhem.
This is the way. I know that way. Some guy should stand at the entrance like, guys, this is the way. Follow the way.
We're the same as
we could be on that stage.
No, I don't think we could be, ever. We're the old men of gaming.
I know the way.
I know that way.
Do you know the way?
There was actually one guy with the way.
That was hearing some Florida Mayhem.
This is the way. I know that way. Some guy should stand at the entrance like, guys, this is the way. Follow the way.
We're the same as
we could be on that stage.
No, I don't think we could be, ever. We're the old men of gaming.
I know the way.
I know that way.
Hearing some Florida Mayhem.
This is the way. I know that way. Some guy should stand at the entrance like, guys, this is the way. Follow the way.
We're the same as
We could be on that stage.
No, I don't think we could be, ever. We're the old men of gaming.
I know the way.
I know that.
Hearing some Florida Mayhem.
This is the way. I know that way. Some guy should stand at the entrance like, guys, this is the way. Follow the way.
We're the same as
We could be on that stage.
No, I don't think we could be, ever. We're the old men of gaming.
I know the way.
I know that.
Hearing some Florida Mayhem.
This is the way. I know that way. Some guy should stand at the entrance like, guys, this is the way. Follow the way.
We're the same as just backing around the corner. No, I don't think we could be, ever. With the old men.
I know that way. I know that. This is the way. I know that way. Some guys should stand at the entrance like, guys, this is the way. You follow the way. I know that way.
He's his own doctor, really. Dante, 2 kills though. 3 takes out Aldrich and Dia. So Dante.
Shanghai needs a more tissue. Back to the beginning.
Dante, a player we typically associate with heavy tracer play, but takes out Aldrich and Dia. So making a big impact in the first line of defense right here. And
what do you know?
Shots and grenades.
You know, nothing is more tilted. You see that in the kill cam. Yep. We've all been there. We've all been there, Shanghai.
That play of the game makes you feel bad. Big impact.
That's right. First needs a more. Torbjorn walking back from spawn. Undead gets brought back up again as Shanghai tries to keep moving this forward, but here comes a Riptire, courtesy of Dante. Gonna find any kills? No. Dia manages to pick it off with some sharp shooting.
But how are they going to get back to this cart at this point in time?
That's a great question.
Free Feel has switched to the Zenyatta, so they've given up, and this is the problem. It works most of the time when you run the Bastion, but if you get de-seated or unseated from the cart, it'd be very difficult to get that Bastion back around.
Shusha just tried running in there with the D.Va. We saw immediately got mech.
Free Feel has switched to the
now,
so they've given up,
from Baby Bay.
It works
nobody really opposing at the moment. Shusha goes down already. And Shanghai, is having a really hard time even approaching the payload. Shusha
there, just bringing Roshan back in, does get behind the seat. They've given up. Attempting to use the Widowmaker, opposing the gets damage done. Taking out from the flank and actually finds Sleepy.
Sleepy brought back up again. Evix has been doing a pretty good job of watching that right side of the Widowmaker. Doesn't need to anymore. Baby Bay finds him. Trying to come now. Nobody really showing anything. Dante, whoa! Gets a couple with that Riptire. And Evix doesn't need to anymore.
Altering the Valkyrie at the end of the fight. Even with that ultimate up, Dragon still resetting off the side flank. And actually finds Slavery Valkyrie. Black on the next fight. It's a complete field. Somehow that transition to the end of anymore. They're going to come around the opposite side on this attack, but Nevix, Sleepy, and Dak are already over there.
Baby Bay makes me nervous when he walks backwards that close to the cliff.
Dia trying to get back onto Sleepy. Okay, he does force the Transcendence, so that's a win for Shanghai.
Okay. Yeah, what can they do with it, though? Baby Bay getting away. Oh, right into the sights of Undead. Sleepy still in the back lines, watching everything unfold, and Undead just going wild on this Widowmaker right now. He has decided to put Shanghai on his back and carry them, apparently.
Dia can't say enough about that play. He knew that the Transcendence was up, and if they got it out early, they would have their own to fight for on the card itself. So he was really the hero, making sure that that support ultimate was not going to be used for San Francisco Shock to hold them off, and they get a little bit more time.
Yeah, it's another 2.5 minutes on the clock for Shanghai Dragons as they do finally start to move into point B. It was close, though. A great hold from San Francisco.
Yeah, and having an overtime hold on point A in the first attack with how hard it is to get all the way through this map.
Yeah.
By the time you hit point C, it really is going to be difficult for the Shanghai Dragons, but you never know. We saw a couple teams get all the way through the map with only a minute earlier today.
Ooh. Undead, man, you got to beware. This guy is, that's why. Starting to really catch fire on this Widowmaker now. Lots of picks at the end of point A and early point B.
Yeah, definitely starting to come to life here.
Yep.
He's a player who had 18 eliminations and 38 deaths in their first match, so
yeah,
a negative 20 kill differential, but he won't be repeating that performance tonight.
They really needed this guy to step up. He needed to be better if they were going to have any chance of winning this match. And it's looking a little bit better at the moment.
Well,
yeah, that
a lot better.
Now a little bit better. Oh, a little bit less better, but still better.
Sorry, he's back to deal some more damage now, Doa.
Altering brings him back up, that's right. Jusha getting onto the high ground there, takes down Dante, trying to break this hard point that Shock has set up. That payload, though, still moving for the moment. Dante brought back up, but now Nomi getting pretty low. Jusha back with the rest of his team, trying to repel the assault from Nevix.
Yeah, altering with the later Valkyrie. Can Nevix get damage done? Does find Undead, but that may not be enough. Transcendence going to be used on top of the payload. San Francisco looks like they will eventually be pushing back the Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, it was close, but Shock came out ahead in the very end, and now just 35 seconds left in the time bank for Shanghai Dragons. And you know, you don't see a lot of point A holds, you don't see a lot of point B holds either. They've got one last solid attack and a couple ults to use here.
All right, Undead now on the McCree. He knows that the Baby Bay has switched over to the Tracer, and he needs some presence on the payload itself to make sure that they're not going to get
could be big
run out of time here in overtime.
Undead goes down. Dak, though, does fall. Shusha finds the kill with the Diva. Now Nevix a little bit on his own. They need that Mercy. They needed Dak alive. Can Shanghai capitalize? Undead walking forward, finding a few shots here, trying to avoid those Zenyatta orbs. Nevix D-Mech. This is starting to look pretty good for Shanghai at the moment. And that payload may actually get there. Wow, Dak going down early was devastating.
It absolutely was, particularly when they actually did get an early pick to try and, with the Riptire, to try and help out on that defense. But Jusha comes up with the necessary kill, the more important kill onto the Mercy. And now in overtime, they're going to try and push into point C, but San Francisco is going to engage them first with the Supercharger.
Yeah, that's right. They've got the damage boost from Orisa. They take out Roshan first, gets rezzed. Now Baby Bay goes down, though, so not a lot of use out of that Orisa ultimate quite yet. Right, kill onto Roshan. He goes down for a second time, gets rezzed for a second time, and there's a Deadeye. Anything from it for Undead. Sleepy finding one. It is pretty even up, but Shock, with that Riptire, should be able to secure this one. They do, and San Francisco Shock come out on top on Junkertown.
Dante with the late cleanup Riptire was looking like Shock was going to have a numerical advantage in terms of players at the end of that fight regardless.
Yeah.
But still, just putting an exclamation point on the end of that one as San Francisco puts on a very tenacious defense on point A and B.
Sure enough. Well, a solid start for San Francisco Shock. And some puzzling moments for Shanghai, but we'll see what they can do in map number 2, guys. We'll be back with that right after this.
We got ready, but we go to Junkertown, guys. Our first map up.
How much does Geico love saving people money on car insurance? More than gamers love energy drinks.
And this is the Blizzard Storm Berry with artificial flavors and tons of caffeine.
Shanghai Dragons.
We know there's a lot of talent on this team.
It's time to get this party started.
战队的目标应该是前3、前2左右吧。加油，上海龙是最棒的，我们会得到自己所想要的成绩。
Shanghai Dragons getting their chance to attack,
causing Seoul a lot of anxiety.
The Shanghai Dragons have been making it happen.
期待的话，想跟其实打过了吧，我个人是非常喜欢跟 Seoul。
Now the kills coming in for the Dragons.
And if there's a name that you need to know when it comes to Shanghai, it is Dia.
We all know how deadly this guy is.
CV 有一种就是能够击杀，就是快速击杀那种。我觉得我的天赋打 C 应该是最好的。
It's a nice target selection from the side of the Shanghai Dragons.
Now Undead holding the point.
I still have Shanghai in the top half of the league. There are some very talented players on this team that Shanghai is going to put on a nice display.
我觉得每个战队的目标应该都是想夺冠，但是我们还是要一步步来。
We are back, guys. Right now, San Francisco Shock up 1 game over the Shanghai Dragons, and no subs as we head into our second map. It's going to be our assault map, Horizon Lunar Colony, and the Shanghai Dragons, man. You know, coming into this season, coming into the preseason, we were kind of expecting a lot more from these guys. I would say they are the most puzzling team in the league right now.
Yeah, they are, and we know that there is talent on this roster. Obviously, you look at some standout performances by guys like Dia, but something's not clicking in terms of the teamwork right now. We look at them running strategies that we've seen many other teams run, and frankly, struggling with them at the moment. So maybe it's something that needs a little bit more time, but there isn't that same level of cohesion.
Yeah, that's right. Well, for now, let's check out another sounds of the game to hear what it was like at the end of that last round.
Nice. I got the I got send one. I'm firing in 1 second. Okay, drop. Monkey. Give me heal. I'm firing. Monkey. Baby. Come on, Monkey. I got nice. Okay. Let's go, Monkey, everybody. Nice. Let's go, baby.
We need to keep it cool, guys. Everyone here is like too much excitement. Let's keep it cool. We're good.
I feel like we're hearing like a party song being written there. Let's go, Monkey, everybody, yeah! That sounds like
and then Dak, you called me the hype killer. Dak is always the one. Calm down, guys. There's too much excitement here. Keep it cool.
Unbind that emo key right now.
It's good to have an older leader like that on one of your rosters. So this is a guy who's he's played professionally in poker as well, so he's been around the world a few times. He knows when to hold him. That's right.
Hold him even? I don't know.
Hey, knowing when to fold him in Overwatch is actually very important. When you've lost that attack, go ahead, fold.
That's very
true.
Wait
for the next hand.
There's a lot of parallels there. Well, here we go. Horizon Lunar Colony, our next map. Our assault map, of course. Take point E or B. What letter is it? Take point A. You get to take point B. Guys.
Joel forgot the alphabet there.
I don't know how the alphabet works.
Someone please tweet at Doa the English alphabet, please.
No trouble fitting that into Twitter at this point. Can you say something intelligent, please, to move this along?
Well, I don't know how much I've got here, Doa, because we haven't seen either of these teams play Horizon so far in the season. The Dragons did their closest map, and their last one was on Anubis on Assault.
Yeah.
We'll see what they take here. Undead back on the Widowmaker, to the surprise of no one, and Freeview will be playing the Ana, so pretty long-range composition. Some nice shielding here from Roshan on Orisa, and
Nevix joining the 60% plus hook accuracy club.
Wow, that's a terrible name for that club.
It fills up a lot of space.
I could come up with a really good name for that club, but I'm not sure I can say it on this broadcast.
Yeah, that's true. But I get what you're putting.
But use your imagination.
That's right. Doesn't take much. Well, Shanghai Dragons on the defense once again. San Francisco Shock about to go in for their attack round. 3, 2, 1. Let's jam.
Got the Cowboy Bebop in there, I see.
That's right. Baby Bay on the Widowmaker, as you often see. Hiding around the corner here. Uh-oh, Dante.
That's what happens sometimes. You just get hit by those grenades.
Yep.
But luckily, there's a mercy in this game, so...
Yeah, Nomi just body blocked a little bit and get the res.
No harm, no foul. So now they're going to wait for Dante to start flanking around the side, putting some pressure on. They are going to be having Baby Bay on the Genji. So dive composition here. They're taking a lot of damage from this Junkrat, though.
Yeah, taking a lot of time to make a move, too.
Nevix was desuited and killed.
Whoa, what? Okay. Things have gotten a bit strange, everyone.
Yeah, it's been making it pretty easy for Shanghai, and now we have to see this Tracer just sit here and wait for Nevix to rejoin his teammates. They want to push him back to the point, so they're going to try and back cap it right now. That they force Shanghai to actually stop spamming that corner.
I think they're just trying to build up Dax Valkyrie actually right now.
Yeah, could be.
They keep putting Nomi out there to take damage that they're healing up.
I mean, you look at the difference.
He's got it now.
Yeah, 34% to 95, so you're right, Duh.
If this works, it would be hilarious. So it looks like they want to just go in with a very fast Valkyrie. Will it work though? No, Nevix desuited again. Take it down.
Valkyrie, they can let him die.
That's true. They do have time too. His altering is only halfway to his Valkyrie. Meanwhile, nearly one tick taken already on the point. In fact, they get one. Dante backcapping a little bit here.
Yeah, they decided not to use Valkyrie because they were actually getting progress on the point as it stood. And it was a little bit dangerous for Dak to move forward and try and resurrect Nevix.
This is one of the weirdest Lunar Colony point days I've ever seen.
Very strange.
Yeah. All right. Well, now both Mercies basically have Valkyrie, altering nearly there at 95%.
Yeah, they didn't take care of. They didn't take any advantage of that window.
No. Well, I think they were trying to, but then Nevix got demeched again.
Yeah, but he also died, and I don't know. Very, very odd. But that window is gone now. Another trap is going to delay Babyface's progress, and
that hurts.
That'll be the end of his life. Undead also takes out Dak. During his Valkyrie.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on, man. Dante's still on the point, though. They've got that control meter halfway filled up. It's not done yet. Just free firing onto Roshan here, who doesn't have a lot of support. Oh, but he manages to take him out with no health remaining. Now Nomi in that primal rage, looking for more victims, but Shanghai coming out on top of this fight, and he will fall in the end, and that's going to be a return to spawn for the Shock.
I mean, you have to like the idea from the San Francisco Shock, but the execution was just poor overall, and that means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up just trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up just trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up just trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up just trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up just trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up just trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up just trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all that work to charge the Valkyrie, and you end up trading Valks and losing the fight anyway. That means that they're not going to get any value. Great shot by Undead, you're right. But all
Is it? Shanghai Dragons will tie this series up. That's a win on Lunar Colony for them.
It was actually, I enjoyed watching that strategy. Really interesting because when Shanghai Dragons had that opportunity, they knew they only had to get half a tick. So as long as there was somebody always trying to put pressure down and back cap it, there wasn't any choice for San Francisco but to go back immediately.
Well, when you end in those really small control meter situations, there's a lot of ways to just kind of force that. And yeah, Shanghai Dragons doing a good job of adapting to the situation.
Yeah, cool strategy and very appropriate for the situation.
That's right. Well, we'll be back after just a little bit for halftime. Guys, don't go anywhere. The third and fourth maps coming up just after this.
Hey, Vaughn, got a sec? What's up, Coach? I found this in your locker.
Coach, I'm delicate.
Predator puts you in the battle. But the fight is all yours. Summon your strength with Predator Helios with Intel Core i7 processor.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are all tied up here in the Blizzard Arena. It's the final match of the day as the Shanghai Dragons are matching up against the San Francisco Shock. I'm your host, Chris Puckett. We're joined once again at the desk. We got Brendan Sideshow, the UK boys in the house, breaking it all down for us, and we're jumping in to map number 1. It's Junkertown, and we saw the attack coming in from San Francisco Shock first. They didn't make it to the 3rd point, and that's where I actually started to have some hope for the Shanghai Dragons team. They showed up strong on the back end, and Sideshow, before we get to the plays that stalled them out at the 3rd point, I want to open things up with Bren, because Bren, you pointed to me and you said, they're doing it again, the supports are messing up. But not only that, we also saw San Francisco Shock players starting to shine.
Yes, exactly. So we've got a wonderful little clip that really highlights some of the problems that Shanghai is facing. Thankfully, they seem to have cleaned it up in map 2, but this really does just highlight some of the issues that they've got going on with them. They end up, again, stacking up these support ults. You can see Altering ends up using a Valkyrie whilst the trance is going on. It does just fade, but not really using them to the full effect. And then Sleepy just absolutely goes ham. He's got that Orisa supercharger on the back, so he's damage boosted up. But look at this. This is just beautiful. If you guys haven't seen this already, nice little air shot. Then it just clipped off. It just tried to debate us a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't want you to see that one. You have to watch it live if you want to catch it. But honestly, it's awesome to see Sleepy given the opportunity to flex onto a bit of a Bastion here. This is a guy that we've seen play Ana, a whole lot of Zenyatta out of him. You highlighted this guy in his very first match. What do you think of his performance so far?
Well, I love, firstly, that Junkertown allows us to put these supports on these DPS positions. We've seen it a lot of times now. So far, Sleepy, I've been pretty impressed across the board. I feel like, again, this guy was an unknown quantity coming into the league. I gotta remind you of that because he hasn't played up onto a major stage like the Overwatch League before, and his performance has been very good for someone who's new to the scene.
Yeah, he has been very solid. He's got a very aggressive play style and good aim, so he's able to pick up tons of kills all over the place. When he was playing against LA Valiant, they did abuse his over-aggressive positioning a couple of times.
Okay.
But they tightened that up, and he's got just all the base mechanics down.
Let's talk about the Shock, though, because this is a team that's rolling, right? All of a sudden, you can't finish the final point. What issues were they running into?
Well, they had a couple of fights where they were trying to make pushes and they were stalled out, and again I think it comes down to their support ults a little bit, just being used in situations where they weren't planning to, they weren't taking the initiative. So if we take a look at actually Zushu, who was on the D.Va, you can see that he had a couple of really key self-destructs, and here comes the first one, and that instantly forces out Sleepy's Transcendence and gets the pick onto Baby Bay. Here's another one, great little D.Va tech. He's going to use his self-destruct at the top, drop it down, again forces out the Transcendence. And so by placing his self-destructs in such key locations, he forces the fight on their terms rather than San Francisco Shock.
And for some of the newer viewers out there, that last D.Va bomb is actually very difficult to pull off. You have to drop your mech right on the edge of a ledge and then manually walk into it and push that baby down. He did it with perfect timing, got Nevix out of the mech, and after that, you saw Shanghai Dragons hold. On their attack, though, this squad looked totally flabbergasted. They had no idea how to break through the Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, so
the Shock.
Yes, so a big part of this was actually Nevix, who we pointed out in the pregame as well, and hopefully we can bring up some statistics of his Roadhog play in particular, because I would like to once again point out a little stat that was pointed up and was thrown up whilst the game was actually live, was the fact that Nevix has now joined the elite Roadhog unit. Look at that hook accuracy again. He's now on 65%. Only 4 players in the Overwatch League have currently achieved over 60% hook accuracy. Pretty astounding stuff all around that we're seeing so much phenomenal Roadhog play coming out of a lot of these guys.
The big hookers, that's the club they're in right now, Brian. Let's move it on to game number 2 as we jump into the action that we saw on our second map. It's Horizon Lunar Colony, and normally we see a lot of successful pushes on point 8, generally very fast. Not so much in this game, fellas. We never got a real attack on that second point.
Yeah, I love the setup that Shanghai Dragons were using, actually. It's very similar to what Shock were trying when they went against, in the preseason, they were running it and had great performances, where you have the Widowmaker set up down a sight line, easy picks on anybody that's trying to come in. They have to be really fast as they try to engage onto you, and that gives a load of room to the rest of the bulk of your team, because they know exactly where they're coming from and the timing of it as well. So I'm glad that we saw Undead step up on the Widowmaker and have much better performances than we've seen from him in previous matches, both in the preseason and in their first game against LA Gladiators. This guy needs to be a second threat alongside Dia, and by opening himself up and having such strong performances on Hitscan, he's allowed Dia to go over to Junkrat, where he's also excelled.
I thought Altering did a fantastic job of staying alive. That was an issue he had on Junkertown. He rezzed almost everyone who fell, and we were looking at the numbers. After this incredible hold from Shanghai, it was 18 kills for Shanghai to just 6 for San Francisco. San Fran had no answer for that setup of defense. What issue did you see, Sideshow? What do they need to fix before they go back to Horizon in the future?
See, I'm not even so certain that it was something they need to fix, just something they need to change. So we've harped on about the one style that we've seen from San Francisco Shock so far, and if they had the ability, or if they've had the practice or the scrim time or whatever, to try stuff like the quad tank approach that we saw from Dallas Fuel, or trying routes through the left-hand side perhaps, or even running a Reinhardt Zarya kind of composition, these different looks could have cracked through that defense that Shanghai Dragons had, but it doesn't seem like they're too comfortable using that approach at the moment.
It's just simple stuff. I mean, this is a strategy they've ran before. They know how it works because they've used it against other teams and whatnot. It's just simple stuff like playing the point, learning how to break down these strategies, but like you mentioned, increasing the flexibility, increasing the amount of compositions that they can actually run with, just by playing more tanks, I guess, as well, because we've seen a lot of them with the Moira coming into effect as well. Will just do wonders for them.
We highlighted some players that are playing better today, but I do want to call out the guys that need to step up if their team wants to finish this match on top. Who are you looking at? Pick one individual.
Generally, we need to see more team cohesion and timing from these guys, and so I'm looking at the DPS players who on San Francisco Shock to perhaps not take such aggressive positions and wait for their tanks to establish themselves before they move in, because we saw Undead and Dia get a lot of solo picks when, if San Francisco Shock were perhaps a little more cohesive and a bit more patient, they'd be able to take easier entries into these.
Brent, what are you looking for in the second half?
Supports from Shanghai, mainly Free Feel. I feel like Altering had a decent performance in the second map, but Free Feel still needs to just catch up a little bit to his compatriot.
All right, those are our players to look out for in the second half. We still have 2 more games to go. When we return, we'll find out who's going to take the lead. We're going to Ilios on the other side of this break. The Overwatch League is brought to you by
Predator puts you in the battle. But the fight is all yours. Summon your strength with Predator Helios with Intel Core i7 processor.
You can't be calling yourself the GOAT when I'm the GOAT. Dude, GOAT.
Who dares disturb the race? Gentlemen, I can settle this. The Turtle Beach Elite Pro headsets are fit for only the greatest competitors. For all those that get involved and fail, they'll be crumbled to dust.
So, I guess we're both the GOAT?
You guys have a lot to learn about being the greatest.
You can't be calling yourself the GOAT when I'm the GOAT. Dude, GOAT.
Who dares disturb the race? Gentlemen, I can settle this. The Turtle Beach Elite Pro headsets are fit for only the greatest competitors. For all those that get involved and fail, they'll be crumbled to dust.
So, I guess we're both the GOAT?
You guys have a lot to learn about being the greatest.
So good to be back. It is. It is.
Let's do this properly. Come on.
Oh.
Shanghai Dragons will go ahead and win that attack round. And San Francisco Shock, they will take the series as well. Just a really, really well executed push by Shanghai Dragons here. San Francisco got some kills. What a start. Dia still causing a lot of trouble. Baby Bay has just been on fire. Oh. We are back, guys. San Francisco Shock tied with the Shanghai Dragons, 1 map apiece. Both teams getting their first map win of Overwatch League in this match right now.
And now we're going to see Ilios, with which both of these teams have played previously.
They're probably both praying at this point, too.
Praying for a win.
Well, they both got one. Yeah,
one of them's going to get it at the end of this match, but it will be Ilios. And I like the fact that we're seeing at least more projectile DPS play from the Shanghai Dragons this time. They're not relying so much on the double hit scan. I think that's opened them up to some new strategies, as we've seen, and Undead having a much, much better day today.
Yeah, you know, we talked about this a little bit already. Undead is a player that they really were relying a lot on coming into the season, and he hasn't delivered until that last map, or until the last couple maps anyway, and he's finally becoming the player they always wanted him to be. He's evolving. It's like the Metapod has become the Butterfree.
Is that the analogy you're going to use?
That's the only one I never use, Monte Cristo. Who's that Pokemon? It's Undead. Is that a type? I don't think so, actually. Maybe.
I'm not actually sure.
Huh.
An undead type. How many zombie Pokemon are there?
I don't know. Some research to do over the weekend, I guess. We are getting ready to go on Ilios here. Both of these teams, the shot to take this match. There's a big difference between starting the season 0-2 and starting the season 1-1.
Sure is, and we are going to see Baby Bay on the Pharah one more time. His Pharah play has been interesting. Some of the, while he's not ulting, he's actually been doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But some of his ults, he seems to panic at times and ults at the last second.
Yeah.
Or too early. Or too early. The timing's been a little bit off, so we'll see if he's tweaked some of his plays. Now, San Francisco Shock did win this point Lighthouse against the Valiants in their first match.
True enough. Baby Bay, a big contributor to that on this Pharah. See what he can do right now against the Shanghai Dragons. Oh, that's a good start. Undead falls early, walked right into that rocket.
And that was actually really well done by Baby Bay. So what he did there was he knocked the Mercy away with the concussive mine, which gave Nomi an opportunity to jump on top of the body of the McCree and make sure that there wasn't going to be a resurrection. So that'll be an easy first take for the San Francisco Shock.
No kidding, that was smooth as butter, man.
Yeah. Look at that. You can see Baby Bay on your screen there having a laugh.
No kidding.
After the quick pickoff, Undead trying to control him in the air. And he's playing very far back. And
that's a long range to take out a Pharah with McCree.
Yeah.
You're not going to be doing a lot of damage, even if you make those hits.
No, it's just slowing him down a little bit, as much as they can, and they're going to try and get onto the point. Baby Bay drops down and will end Dia.
Just dropped by to steal that kill. Mine.
Well, they thought they were having an honorable one-on-one battle, though, but that wasn't the case. And there just wasn't any support for Dia on the point from the rest of the Dragons. The shield had already been dropped from Roshan's Winston.
Now the dive comes in from the Dragons, trying to get the point. Dante does go down early. Dragons on the offensive. They've got the numbers advantage for the moment. Nevix even in the background here. They're trying to get onto Undead. They denied the ultimate. Nomi did fall anyway, though. Brought back up by Sleepy, of course. And now Baby Bay going to work. There's an opportunity for a barrage. Well, he gets altering anyway.
He gets altering and he gets res. Maybe he can finish off some of these other kills. Oh, there comes the, oh dear. He's trying to hide from the self-destruct. Is successful in his endeavor. Dante remains on the point with Dak on this Lucio.
Oh, that health pack. Tracer got it just in time, and Dia's able to stay alive with that one.
Yeah, point still hasn't flipped though, so throughout this entire engagement, it's been the Shock in control and pushing things up past 75%.
That's right, Baby Bay getting a lot of ult percent built up. Nice D-Mech, air-to-air onto Jishu's mech. Gonna get taken out with the Battle Mercy though, altering, returning and helping Shanghai Dragons flip this point.
But the delay was excellent from the Shock, and Undead, even though he will have the Deadeye to use on this attack, both teams really running each other out of ultimates, which means with the board reset, there's gonna be a lot of opportunities for the San Francisco Shock to get back into this game and complete the point on Lighthouse.
All right, now they have to hold it. Quite a bit behind in control percent. They've got a shot. Oh, Oh, and that's one way to handle the Mercy in the air.
Yeah, Sleepy couldn't get out of line of sight in time. Undead now starting to pop off on the McCree.
I'm telling you, man, today is Undead's day. He has been doing great all 3 maps already, and they need that.
Absolutely picking up his game and making the Dragons more competitive. Dante remained alive. He's still back towards the spawn of Shanghai, as you can see, and Free Feel going to be on the flank. He's going to encounter Dante right away. Dante's going to take him out. Now, there's no Mercy to go back and res him. Now they're collapsing from the flank.
Yeah, that's right. Another barrage comes in. Nice shot onto Dante there by Undead. Babybay does get the kill onto Shishu, though, on that D.Va. Now it's time for Dia to find that pulse bomb. He's got an opportunity here. Maybe, yeah, throws it in. Does he get anything? No, not quite with it.
Got eaten, I think, by Nevix's D.Va.
Maybe he did.
And at the start of that was really Dante playing super well. He was very patient, and he waited for the Zenyatta to fall back towards his own spawn, got into a 1v1, immediately killed him, and then at that point there wasn't a great opportunity for Altering to go back and resurrect. San Francisco collapses on the point. And Nevix,
from downtown!
That's so huge. You get the Valkyrie out.
Yeah, Nevix 2 with that self-destruct. That makes Dak's life easier on the point. He's got that sound barrier, gonna go ahead and use it. Try to keep his team
got
up.
all 6, actually.
Yeah, not bad. Oh, great poop, actually, from Dak. Gets him out of the point. OT ticking away. Not a lot of members of Shanghai Dragons left to contest this. The res does come in onto Roshan, though. So one last-ditch effort coming in, but looks like it's going to be all San Francisco Shock here at the end of Lighthouse. That is it. They will claim the first point on Ilios.
Looking pretty dominant, too. I mean, they pushed it up really far in terms of percentage right off of their first push, and some heroics from Undead kept the Dragons in it, but ultimately the point goes over to the Shock, and it will be Ruins as our next point. So some more time for Babybay and Undead to show off their skills on that Widowmaker.
That's right. And here,
just taking a look at
earlier there.
Yep, that's a nice.
It's a great self-destruct.
Yeah, shot over the top of the building. Not a good way to see that one coming or avoid it.
Yeah. True enough. We talked a little bit about Dante, but I'm really liking the way this guy's Tracer play is improving, because he was mechanically good that we saw in the preseason, but he kept finding himself too far away from his team. He would dive too deep, get too far out of position, and I think he's fixed a lot of those positional issues here in the season.
Yeah, we will
showing the strength of that on that last round.
We'll see how his play progresses as the season goes on. And Undead here on the Widowmaker in the duel with Babybay right now. San Francisco pushing around the side of the point, and Nevix will demech his D.Va opponent, and Undead tries to take another line.
That's right. They're going to grab the point first. San Francisco Shock in the lead once more. Oh, he gets to the health pack just in time, but even double the health is not enough to save him from death.
Well, both tanks simultaneously jumping on top of the Widowmaker.
Yep.
He had his position down, and he was outside the line of sight for Babybay, but the tank's already on that high ground. It makes it quite easy to finish off the kill when they have already lost a player. So
Babybay versus Undead. The duel of Widowmakers has begun. We'll see who comes out on top. Babybay searching for those shots on the side. Oh, Roshan coming in. Nomi helps take him down. Oh, but there's a snipe from Undead. Altering brings Roshan back, so Shanghai Dragons making a big move on the point right now. Nevix maybe turning it around. No, can't get anyone with that self-destruct. Noma, on the other hand, does take down Shishu.
All the resurrects have now been used by both of the Valking Mercies, so it's up for grabs. Who's going to be able to take this point at the end? Altering already out of that Valkyrie mode, and we see the Transcendence healing everybody up on the side of the Shock.
Yep, holding strong on the point for now, nearing 60%. Altering taken out by Dante. Good start. Nevix coming through with another kill. And they're going to hold. Shanghai Dragons used everything to try to take the point there.
Yeah, on the plus side, they are going to have a Transcendence for their next attack, but this one has to work if they want to stay alive here on Ilios.
Yeah, it really does. It's getting to the point where maybe they have one last desperation push if this one doesn't work, but it's getting to be panic mode time for Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, it's just about stalling them until they have to use the Transcendence just to get on the point right now. Any little bit of delay that can be bought by the San Francisco Shock is going to serve them well.
And Roshan down already. Transcendence forced out for Free Feel. They did get him to use it early, trying to get towards the point, but they can't quite do it. Oh, there's a pulse bomb. No kills. It got eaten. That's right. Dante on the point, Roshan falls again. So this attack from Shanghai just never really got started here on Ruins.
And no, it didn't. I mean, that's it. All there's going to be. They've just got to clean this one up. Dante finds Undead in the back line. There comes the D-Suit. Transcendence back up once again for Sleepy.
Welcome to Dante's Inferno. Nobody's touching him on Ruins here. Yeah. OT ticking away, and that is a clean 2-0 for San Francisco Shock.
That's what they say. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
Very true, yep.
Onto the Ruins. So Shock bouncing back after a tough Horizon to take the lead in this series 2-1.
Yeah, that means just one map left. A chance for Shanghai Dragons to tie up this series and send us to that OT map on Lijiang Tower. San Francisco with the opportunity to win it with 3-1. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll see who triumphs. Don't go anywhere. This is Overwatch League.
Let's go, baby! We got this. Let's go!
Do you want your magic back? I'll send you on an epic quest. You have friends, don't you?
Please, hold your questions till the end. We're looking for keys. Whatever the keys unlock will restore magic.
I want magic back more than anything.
The quest I bestow on you is the task you were born for. Claim it.
This is about everyone Wicked's ever taken. They'll never stop, so we're gonna stop them.
I get shotgun. It's amazing what people can accomplish when their survival's at stake. Hunt every last one of them down.
People are dying. The world is dying.
You can't save everyone, Thomas.
I can try.
Maze Runner, The Death Cure, rated PG-13.
Look at you, Tyson Anytizers and Crispy Strips. You help fuel greatness. You'll just have to make the ultimate game day sacrifice and be eaten.
How much does Geico love saving people money on car insurance? More than gamers love energy drinks.
And this is the Blizzard Storm Berry with artificial flavors and tons of caffeine.
Nissin Cup Noodles.
Oh, look at my big boy eating his veggies.
New Cup Noodles, very veggie, with a full serving of veggies.
Hey, Vaughn! Got a sec? What's up, Coach? I found this in your locker.
Coach, I'm delicate. Old Spice Invisible Spray feels so good on my skin, it's the only option for me.
All right then, get on back out there on the field.
12 men on the field, number 58.
Come on,
I have
man.
2 Von Millers coming out at once.
Hello and welcome back once again. We're about to head into map number 4, but before that, I want to bring it back a little bit to the performance from San Francisco Shock earlier in this week. San Francisco Shock unfortunately lost against the Valiant. It was a crushing defeat, 4-0, but after that game, they were actually visited by Major Leaguer and former MVP Ryan Howard, who gave them some words of wisdom. He sat down with the team and talked to them, from one professional athlete to some others, that they need to be more patient. They need to let the game come to them, and you know, just play their best, not get too emotional. So let's see how that will pay off in map number 4. Hope you guys are ready. I certainly am. So for all the action, let's head back to our casters, Monte Cristo and Doa.
Thank you, Zoe. I think they may have taken that patience thing a little bit too seriously on Lunar Colony, but aside from that, good job, San Francisco Shock. They are ahead in this series 2-1 over Shanghai Dragons right now, and we are going to Numbani to see if they can close it out with a 3-1 victory, or if we get that tiebreaker map on Lijiang Tower. We find out soon. As soon as the map loads, Monte Cristo.
That's right. Shock did struggle on attack on Numbani when they played against the Valiant. They made it about halfway through point B before getting shut down. It's rare for us to see teams successfully defend in point B, so a bit of an oddity there, but they're going to have to look to tighten up their play so they can make a longer push.
Well, as this series has gone on, we've seen two big things that stand out. We've seen San Francisco, I think, elevate their play overall, and we've also seen Undead get better on an individual level. And I don't think that individual performance improvement is enough to counter the entire team of San Francisco.
Yeah, it's hard too, because it really did, after watching the preseason, when we looked particularly at Sleepy, who was picking up a lot of kills, and as a rookie player, playing his first few matches on stage ever, he was performing quite well, but Soon really had his number against the Valiant. He died a lot more in that particular series, but he seems to have gotten it together, thought out his play once again, and he is not getting punished quite so hard tonight.
All right, well, time for the Shanghai Dragons to set up their defense here on Numbani. They would really like to get a win in this league. A lot to prove for this team. A lot of hype surrounding them coming into the league, and hype that just hasn't been delivered on quite yet.
Yeah, Freefield back on the Ana, so very standard defense for the Shanghai Dragons. We'll have Freefield and Undead on the far side, the high ground, waiting for people to go ahead and dive them or try and capture the point so they get some free shots from above. And Shock obviously not going to be running with this particular composition. We'll see what they end up changing to.
I don't think they're going to have Dante on Lucio. That would surprise me a bit. Probably going to swap over the Tracer as usual here. And Baby Bay on the Pharah. Okay, so they are going to go with the Pharah attack here on Numbani. Yeah, there's Dante on the Soldier. Not the Tracer, but a very normal pick to see here on Numbani attack.
All right, they should be rotating all the way around the left side of the map with this composition.
Yep, there they go.
That's exactly what they're going to do. Some people will be trying to take the high ground. The Pharah will go all the way past to deal some damage across the point. He's going to run into Dia immediately.
Yeah, that's right. Roshan having to jump off the high ground right away. Boyd getting shot, altering, exposing himself. Ooh, that Helix rocket nearly found its mark here. That was dangerous. They've got that high ground for the moment. Can they dislodge Dante? He's got that biotic field for a few more seconds. Expires now. Nomi does go down, though. So Shanghai Dragons with an opportunity. And they're going to take it. Shishu coming in, taking down both Sleepy and Dante. Great start. So as Baby Bay fires from the side, the rest of his team falls.
Yeah, Baby Bay is going to try and back off right now. He's getting healed up by the Mercy, so trying to build up some ultimate charge and stay alive while he waits for the remainder of his teammates to join the team. They finally were able to regroup on the far side. They should be safe.
That's right. You need to be a little bit careful if you're Baby Bay in that position. You don't want to get your spawn staggered if you get picked off way after the rest of your team. But he manages to stay alive.
Shishu's been on the edge of getting D-Max this entire game, but just barely sticking around thanks to the healing of Altering and Freefield.
Self-destruct used by Nevix. Got back in the mech just in time. Now the Primal Rage comes in for Roshan, just keeping everybody bottled into that corridor as Baby Bay looks for more shots. Ooh, that's dangerous, man. Attack Visor comes out for Dante. Can't quite fire through everything, though. And now the Transcendents are going to try to use that to get onto the point.
But really the impressive thing is San Francisco survived the nano boost attack visor on the opposite side. The positioning wasn't great. So Dante now trying to clean this one up. Nomi and his tank Nevix still on that point. Dante can't quite survive even through the heal station.
That's right, Nevix, D-Mech watching the rest of his team fall here. And with Nomi not lasting too much longer, that should be it, yeah. San Francisco Shock starting over from spawn.
Yeah, Shishu been doing very well this match so far. He's been the main driver coming up onto the high ground and denying a lot of damage, as well as taking out some of the squishier members of San Francisco Shock. Baby Bay will be on the Soldier now, so they are changing up the strategy. Soldier Tracer, as Dante switches off onto the Tracer. So this is going to be, again, more of a poke style of composition that we see, trying to soften people up so the Tracer can finish them off.
Here's a dive on the high ground. Field goes for a sleep guard before diving back to the low ground. Let's try to stay alive. Not sure if that one connected, but either way, it kept him alive. And that's the important thing. First tick taken, though. Nevix with 2 on that self-destruct puts that D.Va ultimate to work. And Shanghai short-handed. And I think San Francisco is going to take advantage of that. That's 2 ticks already. And there's a nano boost. They're going to give it to Undead. Wow, he's going for it, man. That is a bold move. And that is not going to pay off. I don't think you use a nano boost right there.
Yeah, no
That's
way.
Rough.
Yeah, your free field may be trying to switch off onto another hero.
I think you have to now.
Yeah, Undead at least got some percentage from using the extra damage from that nano boost, but ultimately not very effective. Baby Bay's going to be coming back into this fight with a tactical visor of his own.
Yep.
And this is where we saw the San Francisco Shock run out of gas against the Valiant, but they have plenty of time to keep on pushing here, and pretty sizable ultimate advantage.
And with all those ults, they've got a couple spare tanks of gas as they get this push going. Roshan low as he dives in. And nice capitalization on that Orb of Discord from Sleepy. Tops the Transcendence, but Shishu takes out 2 with the self-destruct. Shanghai storming in to push San Francisco all the way back to spawn.
Yeah, they are, and that was a massive play considering that the Transcendence had already been committed. So Shishu again continues to be the star for the Shanghai Dragons on Numbani. And that will force a regroup at the moment. We'll be coming back with a Valkyrie.
Ooh, Dia taken out by that Helix rocket from Baby Bay. So short-handed are the Dragons as Shock comes in to get this payload moving again. Roshan getting low. He got the nano boost, so can he stay alive? Sleepy falls, Dak brings him back again. And Nevix finds altering in the side room. Oh, he barely gets away though. That was a close call, but the rest of his team doing just fine. And that payload's moving.
Yeah, Baby Bay still holding onto this tack visor. Dak had to use the Valkyrie in order to continue that push as the pickoffs happened early.
Right.
But Shanghai going to be looking to come back. Freefield's still on this Ana. Keeps on using that nano boost, trying to help out Roshan, and now he's going to swap. Usually you see that a little bit sooner, but his ultimate charge has been in a place where it was pretty easy for him to continue using that hero, or made it at least difficult in his mind to switch off.
Right. All right, Nevix tosses in the self-destruct, just trying to zone enough for them to get point B. Doesn't work though, Shanghai coming in anyway. Primal Rage for Roshan, trying to pave the way for his team to come in, but Baby Bay's right there with the tack visor. Gets that kill. Dante follows it up with a pulse bomb onto Shishu. And if they can dislodge the Tracer, they do. Dia goes down. They should be able to end it. Altering taken out by Sleepy, who frags out with another kill on Dia, and that's point B and then some for Shock.
Oh, that is actually going to really sting for the Shanghai Dragons, because the Valkyrie was not going to be enough there in any case to stop them from going ahead and taking point B, and now they're going to have to give up ground here on point C as well. Especially with Dak and Sleepy both approaching their ultimate. This is a chance for San Francisco Shock to play slow and just push this all the way home.
Got a little bit of time to work with. Oh, Baby Bay is gonna have a little bit of time to think about what to do with the rest of their attack here. Dia takes him down. Dante just trying to build up that pulse bomb at the moment. Nevix trying to escape. They gotta back away. Too many people, too low health, but Nomi says, no way, I'm going back in with the Primal Rage.
Wow, that tank
play, on his own, though.
That tank play left a lot to be desired.
I don't know about that.
They were not pushing forward onto the payload, and then had to use that, and Sleepy just gets left behind.
You're Zenyatta, and you can only float so fast, man. It gets rough. Dak's there with the res. They're going to try to come in with the Tranquility on both sides. Zenyatta ultimate's coming out. There's the poke. Oh, Dante blows himself up. He does get the D-Mech on the Shishu, but at what cost?
Shishu flew back onto him, actually, after it wasn't his fault. Dante was trying to blink away.
Ooh.
Baby Bay snipes Freefield with a Helix rocket.
Icy rockets coming up from Baby Bay, and there's the tack visor. Celebration firing into the air as they will finish it. That's 3 points for San Francisco Shock.
Wildly firing into the air like a true American.
Gonna
Get off my lawn!
A minute and 6 seconds left for the San Francisco Shock.
Not bad.
Could have been cleaner on that attack onto point C, but they make it work and still keep some time for themselves in the bank.
Dante's like, I got blown up with my own bomb.
It wasn't his fault, though. The D.Va flew into him after he planted it.
Doesn't make it feel any better, Monty. You're still looking at that respawn timer.
Yeah, still a bummer, but you know what?
Right.
Rest of his teammates pushed the payload all the way through to the end. So it didn't end up mattering. And
it's like, hey, Sleepy, did you see Dante get blown up with the bomb?
I'm looking for the part where we do the player communications, but it's just you dubbed over all of the players.
I know what they're all saying. Look, I got this. Shanghai Dragons going to be going on the attack here. They've got to finish the map to push it into the time bank round, or they will lose this series to San Francisco Shock. It all comes down to this for the Dragons in their second match here in the Overwatch League.
Dia looks like we'll be playing that Pharah Undead now on the Soldier 76, so very similar style of composition. What we saw initially from San Francisco Shock on the attack, likewise, same comp from the Shock. We'll also be running Sleepy on the Ana.
All right. So, Sleepy.
Yeah, 7 final blows. That's more of the style of performance we expected from Sleepy.
This guy finds the picks.
Yeah,
I mean, he's new, but he is definitely memorable. And that wall doesn't
drawing
need
smiley
any heal.
faces on the wall with his
Nice guy.
trank darts, I guess you could call them.
It's only like
Healing darts, poison darts, whatever they are.
3 million per dart, knowing the defense budget these days. What a waste.
But now the wall is happy, Della.
There you go. It's feeling good. Shanghai Dragons trying to come in from the left side here. They're going to try to take the high ground. You grab this first, then you try to make it across the other side. Maybe Dia can get a good concussion grenade and push people off. We'll see. Roshan under fire here.
Dante just poking away right now. Has to be really careful because he's playing at mid-range against Undead Soldier. Nice biotic grenade actually onto the tanks.
Yeah, that was a big one. That hit a lot of people here. Undead has to back away. That biotic field didn't end up getting him a whole lot. They are on the point though. Dante does DMX Shishu. A D.Va, not a concern anymore. Or Shock on this defense anyway.
Here we go. Go in and just instantly get fried on that high ground.
Oh no me. Another kill for Undead. Dante taken out as well. Nevik slow help. There's Attack Visor just to secure this one. And this looks like it's going to be a pretty quick point A for Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, that's going to be the Shock falling very far back on this map. Shanghai Dragons trying to create as much room as they can pushing forward. But Dante's positioning there, he just wasn't going to be able to do anything from that angle. He had gotten himself all the way back into the corridor closest to the Shanghai Dragon spawn. And there's no way you can contest the Soldier at that range, doing a very small amount of long-range damage.
Very true. The tanks in the front, already paving the way. Ooh, for an easy kill on the Baby Bay there. Dak uses the res, of course. Oh, Barrage coming in. Dia, death from above. Indeed, he did get the kill onto the Ana, but I don't know if that was quite worth it. Didn't get a lot otherwise.
Well, they're going to commit the Valkyrie to it, at least to get the resurrections back up. Dia's still in trouble, though. Has to dodge around the far side and taking still quite a bit of damage from the hit scan players of the Shock.
Yeah, neither one of those ultimates really got the payload going. And they're going to get pushed back for the moment either way. It's still a scramble. And finally now, Shanghai starting to grind this one out a little bit. They've got to worry about the Attack Visor from Baby Bay, though.
And Roshan's still there with the Primal Rage at the front line. He absorbed most of that Soldier 76 ultimate.
Yep.
And he's actually going to live. Wow. All down to about 50 HP, and there he goes, Dante.
Thanks for the caster curse, Monty.
That's just how you do it, you know?
Yep.
As a caster, gotta accidentally get some players killed by cursing them sometimes.
But is it an accident? That's what I'm wondering now. I'm getting suspicious. Now they're pushing forward anyway. Shanghai with one ult to work with at the moment. Undead on the run. Gotta get that health back. There's Nomi. He gets the nano boost. There's the Primal Rage. Attack Visor used at the same time. Oh, jumps onto Shishu though. There's one. At the end of the day though, that payload was still moving. It did have some progress. It's getting a lot more now.
Yeah, it is. Nomi trying to stay alive just by hiding around the corner here. Will have to dive back out towards his Mercy. as the Shock retreat.
Yep. Well, Shanghai has done a good job of sending out Jishu and Roshan ahead of everyone else to kind of keep the payload moving smoothly, but Babybay turning this one around now with the Tag Visor. How many can he get? Nevix finding Dia there. A lot of shots in the Primal Raging Winston, but Roshan says no to the Soldier ult. Now Nevix, there's a sleep dart. They woke him up right away though. Roshan not spending much time in Dreamland as that payload stalled for the moment, but it's nearly at the end of point B.
These fights have been chaotic, altering with the later Valkyrie, but the less effective one as they are pushed back towards their spawn. And for now, the San Francisco Shock will hold 2.5 minutes. There's still plenty of time for the Dragons to make it all the way to the end of the map. And the commitment was pretty huge there to rely on Undead to make a big play. And Sleepy waiting with that nano boost. So charging up Nomi in that front line should provide a pretty significant distraction.
Yep. I think that's been wise. Obviously, the Winston generally the one receiving that nano boost. It's the way you do it. Biotic Grenade goes in there, gets eaten though by Jishu. Still gets demeched anyway. Gonna pop that self-destruct. Ooh, oh, he gets two. Babybay and Sleepy somehow caught with that one. Oh, and Shanghai gonna steamroll the rest of San Francisco Shock. That's point B.
Sleepy didn't want to necessarily commit the nano boost when the tank was so low, couldn't heal him up fast enough to get him back into the action, and now he's just going to abandon it altogether and go over to the Zenyatta. I think sometimes you just have to bite the bullet, sacrifice the ultimate for the better hero. He's been getting jumped quite a lot and hasn't had the biggest effect on that. Dante!
Oh!
Dearly gets up. Nice little trap there set by the Dragons, trying to punish.
Surprised he escaped there. Whoa, he escaped and got a bit of revenge even. Both supports taken out with that pulse bomb. And now Dia fighting for his life on the payload. Not gonna work. And Shock not deterred at all by losing that last fight. They are back.
Well, Dante saw them, and when they didn't kill him in that very small room, he saw an opportunity to make the big boom in the room. And that's gonna take out both of those supports as we look at Dante coming in. And
big boom in the room becomes Shanghai's 2.
He finds both supports. I mean, they're not even looking at him. You have to pay attention, but there's no escape there. There's the self-destruct on one side and the pulse bomb on the other.
Yep. All right, that payload getting pushed a bit by Shanghai Dragons now. Down to 2 minutes in the time bank. Nomi diving in. Nevix waiting. Buying time here, protecting Babybay as he gets that kill on the Dia. Transcendence used on the side by Freefeel. A little bit too late to save Dia, who does get res though, so it's okay.
All right, Tactical Visor will be held by Babybay as Undead unloads his.
Yep.
Get some more movement for the payload. Minute 40 left, Shanghai.
Ooh, they're gonna pull way back now.
Altering, use the Valkyrie right now, so they're trying to get as much progress as they can, but this is going to deplete them if they are somehow stopped.
Yeah, so this is a fight that Shock needs to win right now. They waited for the Valkyrie, they let the progress happen. Now they have to win. Babybay with the Tag Visor finds Roshan in that little room. He can't jump out. Can they finish him off? Oh, we can. That's a good start here. Meanwhile, the rest of his team following it up with some more kills. And 1 minute remaining now for Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, good patience from the Shock, too.
Yeah,
they fell back and didn't use the Valk, didn't use the Transcendence, waited for them to kill the Primal Raging Winston, knowing the payload couldn't make it all the way to the end. And now they are in a prime position to go ahead and win their first match of the season.
Yeah, this map and this match are Shock's to lose right now. They have control, they have the ultimates. With some really heads-up defensive play here.
It's everything you want. 2 support ults and a stalling ult in the form of that self-destruct.
Now Freefeel.
He dies!
Down. Sleepy gets brought back up again. Nevix in there. He's got that self-destruct if he needs to use it. Nice kill. Can he get more out of it though?
Support's communicating well.
Nice.
Sleepy died, didn't use the Transcendence, instead just let Dak res him and realized they were going to win. So even if there's a desperation push right now, they've got the self-destruct still to hold people off the payload.
Yep.
They're gonna have to touch it on this next push, and it's gonna be very difficult to do that.
They're probably gonna have the Primal Rage too, Shanghai Dragons. Desperation mode now. Dante lives, there's a pulse bomb. It's a zoning ultimate, San Francisco Shock coming in. Shanghai, they need to make this push work if they want to keep this series alive. Dante firing away. Here comes Attack Visor from Undead. Roshan does fall, so that's one tank not protecting their soldier anymore. And Nomi gets him.
Get on the payload right now.
That's right, you gotta stop it. It's getting so close here. Dante kind of on his own here. Everybody backing away. Here comes Nomi. Can he stay on the payload long enough, though, for everybody to get back? Sleepy on the side. Now he's got the healing. Oh, Doc went a little bit too deep and got taken down, but Baby Bay there with the Attack Visor. Maybe the Soldier ultimate has been enough. Pulse Bomb comes in, takes on Chishu right after he gets out of the back, and Undead trying desperately to live here on the Soldier. Lives for a surprisingly long time, but it's not enough. And San Francisco Shock hold, and they will win this series 3-1.
And they had all the tools at the end in order to pull that off. Good discipline with their ultimates for the Shock to make sure they were going to have that hold, especially just keeping control over their support ultimates and over that self-destruct.
That last round from San Francisco Shock, I mean, if you are a San Francisco fan, that should be more encouraging than anything else you've seen this season for them. That was just very patient, very heads-up play, and it paid off big time. Great execution. They did what they needed to do. That's right. And for more on breaking down that match, let's send it back to the desk and see what they've got to say.
Thank you so much, fellas. First off, can we give it up for the San Francisco Shock one more time? And of course, big round of applause for Monty and Doa. Let's break down the action starting with Game 3. We ended halftime with the Shanghai Dragons taking our second map, the Assault map. It was tied up 1 apiece, and it led into Control, and this is really where you start to generate some momentum. And before we jump into what the San Francisco Shock was doing well to win that map, we do want to highlight some improvements from the Shanghai Dragons. Sideshow, kick it off for us.
Yeah, I've got a replay here that shows some of the signs of life that Shanghai Dragons had, and you can see as I pop it up, we're starting this one pause because I just want to demonstrate the positioning of a couple of players. You've got Undead over here, and he has used his ultimate. He is in Deadeye form, and so everybody on San Francisco Shock has to deal with him. So the tank line down here are going to move up towards Undead, and they are going to be trying to focus him and take him out of the picture. What you'll also see is that the D.Va player from Shanghai Dragons is going to loop around, and Dia are both going to collapse and try and take out these tanks instantly. So if you play this one forward, you'll see that as the tanks dive on, here comes the collapse from Shanghai Dragons. With a Discord target onto Nomi, the 2 tanks here are being completely focused. Undead is being kept alive by both the heals from Altering and the Harmony Orb from Free Feel, and these tanks get busted down very quickly. And I think that this really shows signs of life for Shanghai Dragons because they're able to set up that play and have the forward thinking to be able to know what San Francisco Shock are going to do to react to it and then burst down those tanks. So these are the signs of life.
That team cohesion is starting to come together. I do want to pause for a moment, give a shout out to everyone that is watching at the party over in San Francisco. I've seen you on Twitter. It looks like a big madhouse out there. Bren, real quick though, let's talk about the Shock. Why did they win that map 3?
Yeah, so I don't want to harp on too much about the DPS players, but it was the DPS players. Baby Bay and Dante, once again, had wonderful mechanical skill, and it really translated into the numbers as well. Baby Bay ended up with 15 eliminations, only 3 deaths to his name. Again, all around great stuff, but Dante was really the star of these last 2 maps. Ended up with 25 eliminations, and once again, 3 deaths as well onto Ilios, which is really just outstanding numbers all around.
All right, really quickly, we're going to hit Numbani as we close out the show. Let's go ahead and start rolling the highlights. This is Shock. They're already on match point. Here's their opportunity to seal the deal. And Monty and Doa were saying, you know, they should be proud of their performance. I felt like Shanghai, they gave them a good run for their money, but Shock really showing some strong patience and overall chemistry.
Absolutely. Shanghai Dragons did look improved over their previous performances, setting up some nice plays with Shushu's D.Va bombs as well. But San Francisco Shock were patient, and as Bren was saying, they had this dual threat coming from Baby Bay and Dante. We saw an improved performance, I think, from Dante throughout this series that meant that even when the Shanghai Dragons were putting a lot of pressure on Baby Bay, they still had a lot of punch to work with, and Nevix had a great performance as well. So this is a San Francisco Shock team that should be proud of their performance in this game and has a foundation to build off throughout the season, as even before Sinatra and Super come back into the roster.
The Shock gets their first big win, so I feel it's only fitting that we crown our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. It's going to a Shock DPS player, and it's not Baby Bay.
Dante went big today, and he did it on a number of heroes. My favorite to watch was the Tracer, but he got it all started with the Junkrat back on Junkertown.
Yeah, he definitely did. And as I was saying, this dual threat performance, and Brent, you were referencing his statistics from Ilios as well.
Absolutely, yeah. He really turned up, had a huge performance on this. Not only at map 4 as well. Map 4, he went absolutely ham on them. 6 deaths to his name on that map alone as well. Huge part of why San Francisco Shock were a big threat today against Shanghai Dragons when they were looking much better as well. As you can see in his various highlight reels, he was flexing onto the Junkrat earlier as well. I like to see this. I like to see San Francisco Shock starting to experiment a little bit more outside of their comfort zone.
Pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, I think overall as well, the positive for San Francisco Shock is that they had slightly better ult economy towards the end of at the end of Numbani. They were setting up their plays nicely, and so even their macro play, even how they're using these support ultimates was improved over the beginning, where we highlighted some misplays and errors there.
All right, let's take a look at the overall day. As you saw the stats there for Dante, we looked at our schedule coming in, and we knew we were going to have some good matches. No one predicted the first match of the day was going to be as good as it was. If you joined late in the show, make sure you go back and watch the VODs of the LA Valiant versus the Dallas Fuel. Yes, it was a 3-0, but probably the most exciting 2 games that we saw ever in a first half. It's going to be tough to beat that one. Boston was able to get the upper hand over the Florida Mayhem, and you just saw the Shock take down the Shanghai Dragons for their first win of the regular season. As we look at the big picture, though, here are your league standings. It's the LA Valiant up top at 2-0. Gladiator still 1-0. You got Excelsior, Spitfire, Fusion, and Dynasty all at 1-0. And those are the squads we are going to see tomorrow. 5 of our 6 teams are undefeated. And I have to ask you guys, what are you most pumped for? We're starting with London and at 11 a.m., but it gets better as the day goes on.
Yeah, for me personally, it's got to be that London-Philly matchup. I mean, I'm a London Spitfire fanboy. I'm not going to deny that, being from the region myself. But Philadelphia showed massive improvements over what we saw. Well, not from what we saw, but they showed a massive performance throughout the league itself. There's a lot of talent on that roster. Very curious as to how they're going to take it further into the league.
Yeah, definitely. There are some question marks as well about how London's been mixing these 2 rosters and whether or not they're going to really reach the peaks that we've seen from the 2 kind of cores that they built London Spitfire with. And so that's an opportunity for Philadelphia Fusion to hit them while they're potentially a little bit weaker. So that's a great matchup, I think.
It's going to be a fantastic day, the final day here in week 1 as we open up Saturday morning from the West Coast. That's going to do it for everyone here in the Blizzard Arena tonight. Get a drink for me. I got an 8 a.m. call time. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow.